Hospital Porters Pride and Dignity Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV and welcome to this Reply to Comments 64. This is the 64th video in which I reply to your comments, hence the title. Now, the reason I do these videos is because you guys put comments on my video. All my comments box so far have been open, all of them, on every video. And a lot of my viewers do put comments on, and a lot of them are very, very long. Some of them are detailed. Some of them are asking me direct questions. Some of them are engaging me in debate. Some of them are you put a lot of time and effort into some of them, and I feel obliged to reply to you. I feel obliged to reply because you've taken the time to watch the video. Not just watch it, but tell me what you think about it. It's a duty on my part. Now, I don't have time. That's the problem. I mean, in all modesty, you know, I'm a growing channel. I'm quite a big channel. I get lots of comments. I don't have time to reply by text. So what I do is, instead, I do these videos. Now, you may say to me, but your reply, I'm not going to watch an entire 9-hour video just to get a reply to one comment. I just want you to answer what I'm saying here. Well, you don't have to for two reasons. Firstly, after every single comment I'm replying to, I'll put a timestamp. It takes the place of a comment of my own. Thanks for your comment. It'll be answered approximately within the first hour, second hour, third hour, etc. of the upcoming Reply to Comments video. That's what's going to be in response to the comment I'm replying to. So the longest you'll have to watch it is an hour. It'll be sometime within that hour that I'll reply to that particular comment. Secondly, my comments reply to videos are a lot shorter than they used to be. They don't go to 9 hours anymore. Most of them very rarely now go over 4. So that's because I do them more often, every 2 or 3 weeks rather than every 2 months like I used to do them. So you don't have to watch a 9-hour video. Anyway, now another reason I do these comments reply videos is because I enjoy doing them. I think they're great fun. What's more, most of you, the viewers, like them too. They get very high viewing figures. I know some of you watch them all the way through anyway. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I do these comments reply videos. So let's go straight to the comments I had since the last show. Now, at first it's a thread on I Met Slackser, and it's Stephen Truthseeker complained because I didn't reply to his comment, and I didn't see it. I've got to apologise to Stephen. I will reply to it now. Now, let me just I try to follow because it's a thread in which Slackser speaking as well. It starts off with Stephen says Slackser is a skeptic when it comes to the paranormal and conspiracies. Slackser replies underneath, I am skeptical about anyone or anything that has questionable evidence, be it official, alternative, or any origin. And then I say I'm going to reply in the comments reply. Stephen says to Slackser, well then surely you're skeptical about this collective consciousness reality the majority accept as real. Slackser replies, of course. Stephen then says, Ben, you're not reading out all my comments. I just watched your reply to comments on this thread and you skipped my comments. I then said I reviewed my log and I don't believe I skipped any of your comments. Could you point out exactly ones you think I might have missed by posting a reply, and etc. And then you said basically, he then refers to the essentially a conversation he's having with Slackser, and then Slackser responds. I mean, I didn't read it out because of that, for that reason, really. But if you want me to, of course, you want me to comment, I will comment. And I don't really know what to add, except I think you both make good points. You don't seem to disagree very much. So all I can do is say to you that I'm on the same page as both of you. Reply to comment 63, Gary Robinson. Evening, Ben, mate. First, I think. Well done, Gary. Hugs, I said. I've actually put a text comment on there. He was indeed. Same video, Stephen Truthseeker. I was a fan of the James Whale show from about 1999 to 2006. Whale had some good guests on, and Whale said Ike had an open invitation to come on his show anytime. But you're right, he's turned back to the dark side. I don't know if it's back to the dark side, Stephen. I mean, maybe it is in a way. Because, yeah, it's his current style is very like his original 1980s shows on TV. Because James Whale has been on a star of both radio and TV. He used to have the James Whale show on late nights. And he used to do his usual thing, like press a button to get rid of callers and things like that, which he sometimes used to do for no reason. People used to call in and heckle him, and he really enjoyed that. I mean, he is a shock jock, essentially. But then, when he went on to TalkSport, he was a changed man. He was much more serious. This was partly to do because he survived cancer. He also had an out-of-body experience which was very profound and affected him. And indeed, he not only invited David Icke onto the show, on his TalkSport show. David was on there. I remember the interview very well. It was one of the earliest interviews I ever heard with David. And not only that, he had other people. He had other people that you and I would consider very, very interesting, such as Timothy Good, the ufologist. He did a very, very good interview with Timothy Good. Very good. If you want, I've got it actually, Stephen. If you want it, just email me. I'll share it to you. I don't think it's actually available anywhere else. And now, look, now he's got his new show, and he's still with Ash. I mean, are those two married or something? He's still got his mate Ash doing like being the text jockey. And they had Tony Topping on there, and James was just baiting him. Not, laughing, taking the mickey out of the illustrations from the book and things like that. Tony flipped and walked out, and I don't blame him. Yeah, and of course, unfortunately, James probably did that deliberately just to get that response, which is a shame. He can't take the subject seriously anymore. Like, why can't he? I actually left a comment on the video because the whole video is up online now. James Weil can give Timothy Good, a ufologist, a good interview. So why can't he do the same for Tony? Why can't he give the good interview for Tony Topping? Stephen Truthseeker says here, on same video, I'll never leave my stuff with family ever again. They either end up throwing it out or selling it on eBay. Well, the person who sold my stuff on eBay for himself, I don't really class as family. Third-party interloper. All right. Yeah. Obviously, like if you sometimes have to leave things. I know you were homeless for a while. I think you mention it quite often that you were homeless. So you might have belongings that you might want someone to keep. But you've got to trust them, haven't you? You've really got to trust them. Reply to comment 63, Gary Robinson. It's a thread now. Hey Ben, I've still not been able to track down any official reference to Star Wars being influenced by Dune, but I agree with you that it must have done to a certain extent. I think so, Gary. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where I heard it. I think it may have been like one of the commenters, I think it may have been one of the critics actually, who reviewed it for. I think I must have read it when I was making my video. My roving review, and it may have been one of the critics there, because there's no doubt there is a similarity between the two. I spot not just Tatooine. I mean the culture of the area, because of course Dune is very famous. It's very famous for being, rather than being a high-tech society, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be some kind of like sort of liberal democracy. Like with Star Trek, I mentioned Star Trek being very utopian, and it is. But of course, with Dune's very different. Dune essentially, in political and social terms, is very much more like the Middle Ages in Europe. It's and Star Wars, you has that same feeling. You have like an empire and things like that, and rebels. It's another kind of space opera type scenario. With Star Wars, you also have the spiritual and shamanistic element as well. And you do get that to extent with the Fremen in Dune, Gary says here, interestingly enough, he carries on, I discovered that Ridley Scott spent a considerable amount of time in the early 80s developing a movie adaptation of Tristan and Isolde. In the interview he mentions that this version of the story was meant to be a cross between Dune and Star Wars, and the concept art really looks amazing as it brings the athletic from both of these movies together. The film was eventually cancelled, and the studio said his ideas were just way too big and unrealistic. Eventually he went on to make Alien. Cheers. Oh, that's a shame. Tristan and Isolde, I think, is like it's set in the early Middle Ages. It's a kind of a romance between a British and an Irish. It's a British man and an Irish woman, or the other way round. I can't remember. But that would have been a good. Well, I think Ridley Scott would have done a good job because he's a good filmmaker. Dark Corner says UK says in reply to that. One influence Star Wars absolutely took from Dune was the inclusion of spice. However, spice in the Star Wars universe is greatly different from Frank Herbert's original conception. In the Star Wars universe, it's basically just a narcotic substance. It's also, I mean, it could also have elements to do with the Millennium Falcon and the Lightspeed thing, because it's the fastest ship in the galaxy. You can do the Kessel run in so many parsecs. Parsecs, of course, being a measurement of distance. It's got nothing to do with time, but movie viewers generally don't know that. Yeah, but of course Gary says, yeah, that's right, the spice mines of Kessel. I forgot that connection. There's no way they can deny that link. Neil the Peel Paranormal Peep Show says, but Alien was made in 1979, so maybe this was a post-Alien film concept. Right, yeah, because it would have been a shame if Ridley Scott hadn't had the time to make Alien, because Alien is excellent. Alien is really good. I mean, the sequels are mostly bad. I only actually enjoyed one of the sequels, which was Resurrection. That was very good. Absolutely horrifying. I mean, it's the art director and production designer for Alien Resurrection is like I've seen some of his other artwork, and it's good. It's real gruesome stuff. Gary says to Neil Peel of the Paranormal Peep Show, sorry Neil, I got mixed up. He'd made The Duelists, which was his first film, and some of the artwork on the scrapped movie ended up in Alien. Alright. I've not seen The Duelists. Neil says to Gary, that makes sense, Gary. I was trying to think of what this 80s film could have become. I think Scott by that time had a lot of clout to make just about anything. Gary said to Neil, as far as I remember, The Duelist was a flop, but the critics loved it. And so it did a lot of execs and producers in Hollywood, so they gave him a shot at Tristan and Isolde, but backed out when his ideas got way too out of hand. At the same time, a new production company was having trouble finding a director for Alien, as their previous director wanted to make it into a cheap and quick horror movie, and suggested that the alien could be made from meat and shown in quick shots. So they ditched him after seeing The Duelists and the concept art for Tristan and Isolde. Well, thank God for that. Oh, that would have been a catastrophe if they'd done a slapdash job on Alien. I mean, Alien needed to be very well designed. It needed creative. The thing about good horror movies, it's not making an alien out of meat. It's actually it's about psychology. You've got to know what scares people deep down, and Scott does. You see. He does. Gary Robinson says in reply, again, Gary Robinson adds here, Ridley Scott was also working on Dune for a while, which was going to be his Star Wars. He backed out of that because Dino De Laurentiis wanted to shoot it in Mexico. Scott had a problem with that because the studio smelt bad. I think I know what he means, because all buildings and shops here in Mexico are cleaned with products that smell absolutely foul, so I can see why that would have been a shock to him and his team. I guess, Gary, seeing as you've had experience of both, you see, you've lived in Oxford, and you live in Mexico, so you know the difference. I didn't know Ridley Scott was going to be doing an adaptation of Dune. There's a few adaptations. I was surprised how many adaptations of Dune there was. Actually, there was a TV series as well, which I've never seen. There's also, of course, I mean, as you know, as I said in the review, I still consider David Lynch's superlative. It's much better than the recent one. It's the recent one by, what's his name? Villeneuve. And Neil says to Gary, interestingly, why he backed out. So all the shops smelt bad. Gary says to Neil, I admit that must sound strange, but you find that airports, factories, supermarkets, etc., all seem to have this bad smell. I think it comes from a product called Pinol, and it really is rank. I was surprised, but not surprised, when I heard Ridley Scott say that they simply couldn't put up with the smell. I know exactly what he meant. Right. Well, the master of his game has to be in comfort, I think. Interesting thread there, guys. I've got another thread here. Gary Robinson again on 63. Just some woke movie and TV news for you, Ben. Oh, dear. I'll brace myself. I'm not sure if you heard, but it's now been confirmed by several whistleblowers who worked on the new Indiana Jones movie that Kathleen Kennedy has gone with a time travel story that sees old Indy meet young Indy. Oh, what? Oh, this sounds like a great idea. I don't think it is, but until you get to the part when they're both killed off, meaning that the original Indiana Jones trilogy never happened. It doesn't stop there, however, because apparently something happens which means that Indy's female sidekick somehow rewrites history so that it was her in the original 3 movies and not Indiana Jones. What? And I thought Fallon being abducted by aliens in Dynasty was bad. They're therefore destroying the patriarchy once and for all. My goodness me, Gary, that is going to flop. You know, it's really, they can't keep making these clangers. They can't, because at the end of the day, they need bums on seats in cinemas. I know all these people. I hear these people lamenting, "Oh, they got woke and they didn't go broke. Oh, they can do what they like. They're magic. They're omnipotent." You know, but no, that the Illuminati are not perfect. They make mistakes, and they're bound by the same laws of economics as everyone else. Gary carries on. On the plus side, the new Batgirl movie, which was finished and features a number of high-profile Hollywood actors, has been shelved by Warner Brothers. The guy in charge of there, called Zaslav, is on an anti-woke mission, and he has said that the movie is so woke it will do long-term damage to the DC brand. You don't say! So Hollywood is starting to wake up to the fact that people don't want to see woke movies, especially after Lightyear lost $250 million because parents didn't want their kids watching the inappropriate scenes that Disney put into it. Without respect, we reject. Quite so. This Zaslav guy is I bet he's probably been employed by the shareholders. I mean, we've seen how, at the end of the day, you know, these corporations can't just dictate. I mean, we've seen this with Elon Musk. You know, see how the shareholders of Twitter and the board have been battling over the whole thing. They just say, look, what's happening to all our money, guys? And this is, we're being progressive. We're putting positive messages of inclusiveness, diversity, and equality to our films. But no one's watching them. What's happening to our money? You see, it's... So this Zaslav guy, there's going to be more of this, Gary. I mean, originally, I was watching a trailer for the latest Ghostbusters movie, and someone actually told me it was really good, and it was totally un-PC. See, the original Ghostbusters is an absolute gem. This was actually something that came up in the ASAP conference, which I've just come back from, incidentally. There is a reportage coming for that. And that was an absolute gem, of course. It's a classic. Because there was a sequel which I thought was very bad. This was followed up by a feminist... There was a feminist third movie, which... I don't even know if it's canon, actually. I don't know if you know it's part of the trilogy. It was called Ghostbusters Answering the Call, which has an all-female cast in place of the men in the original. And then, of course, I didn't watch that at all, partly out of principle because... I object to wokeness and feminism in movies. Secondly, because the original sequel was so bad. Ghostbusters 2 was a bad film. So I might give the fourth one a go, yeah. Dark Corner says in reply to Gary, on the subject of Hollywood, Disney are releasing a live-action remake of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Only the lead actress will be a dark-skinned Latin woman. Oh, good grief. Oh, bloody hell. That's awful. That's absolutely awful. I have no issue casting minority actors in historical roles if they're right for the part. Absolutely, Dark Corners. Honestly, if they remade Zulu and had white people playing the Zulus, I'd object just as much. I really would. Oh, okay. However, this particularly grinds my gears, as the name Snow White originally comes from her pale complexion. Even more pathetic, perhaps, the Seven Dwarfs are to be replaced by average-sized men after a famous dwarf actor, Peter Dinklage, kicked up a stink about the term dwarf being oh, good grief. Oh, so being a politically incorrect term in modern society. The world has gone insane. Well, Mr. Zaslav, get on top of that, will you? It's gonna. Disney seem to have some kind of death wish, or at least their board does. I mean, I just hope that the shareholders kick up. You know, the shareholders, I don't think, give a damn about messages in movies. They don't care. If loads of people wanted to watch woke stuff, they'd be supporting woke stuff. The only reason they don't want this is because people aren't watching them. They can't force you to watch something. Oh dear. Gary Robinson says to Dark Corners, yeah, I've been following the story of the Snow White remake, and it's insane. I think I will read that at one point. The dwarfs were replaced with non-dwarf actors in order to avoid being offensive to dwarfs. The actress that's playing Snow White is a good actress and very beautiful. However, the problem is that in regards to this movie, she's a woke casting asset, and it's always easy to spot a woke casting asset in a film and TV show. Absolutely, Gary. You know, if she wants to play the Queen of Montezuma, that would be wonderful. I mean, there's endless opportunities for non-white thespians in cinema in a traditionalist sense. You know, there's a film coming out, right? It's called The Woman King, and it's kind of like a trap, because I haven't watched it yet, but of course it's set in Africa and in Western Africa, and it quite rightly it has the Africans are all played by black people, which is correct. But all the wokies want to go and see it, but when they go there, they're going to get a bit of a shock, because apparently it's about the Dahomey Empire's war with the British. Now, this is because from the trailer you think they're fighting to free themselves from the evil white people. The evil white people taking them as slaves. Right, but that's not what the Dahomey Empire did. The Dahomey Empire fought the British because the British Empire, after the British Empire abolished slavery in the colonies. And the Dahomeys, this was a major source of income for the Dahomey. And so they started fighting the black Dahomey Africans fought the white British for their right to trade slaves. Oh God, it's going to be one of these films right there. Everyone's going to go and watching it, and their expectations are going to be so high, and they're going to be dashed, and everyone's going to come tearing out the cinema halfway through. I must say, this is just what I've heard. I've not seen it yet, but apparently that's the plot of the film. Gary says here, I wonder how long they can go on making these films that no one actually watches. Well, they can't, Gary. They can't. They really. I know they have a lot of reserve capital which they're eating into like acid right now. But yeah, they can't do that forever. It's unsustainable. I'm pretty sure I read that they're making a live-action version of Little Mermaid with a person of colour playing Ariel. Yeah, they are. I think I heard that. Dark Corner says to Gary, yes, The Little Mermaid 2. In my humble opinion, Hollywood chose does not serve the black and minority communities by simply recasting white characters with persons of colour. They absolutely don't, Dark Corner. They patronise these people. It's actually, if I was non-white, I would feel horrible about this. What we need are more roles written specifically with black and minority actors in mind. Take Black Panther, for instance. Yeah, Black Panther. Now, I know a lot of you viewers wanted me to hate review Black Panther. People actually said to me, they wrote to me, said, Ben, watch Black Panther. It's so PC, it's so full of cultural Marxism. Go there and tell us all how much you hate it. Well, I went there and I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was actually quite a good film. There was very little cultural Marxism in it. And of course the postscript, I've done an entire article about the postscript where they release the free energy. I mean, that's incredible. Gary Robinson says to Dark Corners, I completely agree with you, mate. Whenever a person is given a role for woke reasons, it's an insult to them because they are patronising them by giving the role just because of their colour. This also goes back to what I was saying about woke casting choices always being very obvious because the actors are usually not right for the role anyway, in shape or form, regardless of their heritage, and this makes them stand out like a sore thumb. Take Reva in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, for example. That was a good actor in the wrong role, who's there for woke reasons, and it's destroyed the show by breaking the illusion, so to speak. Yeah, Gary, that's exactly what I said about Lord of the Rings, you know, and it's actually Sargon of Akkad who made this point. The whole point of these types of things, whether it's the DC or Marvel comic adaptations or Star Wars, Dune, Tolkien, etc., is they are escapism. They are self-contained. They're not meant to be satirical or allegorical statements on our world. They are self-contained. They are self-contained stories about their own universe. Which there may well be political messages in them or social commentary, but it all has to be related through the context of their own universe, rather than being an open door to ours. As Sargon said, it breaks the spell. Yeah, absolutely. Reply to comment 63. Highway Star says, I always like these reply to comments. Keep up the good work, Ben. Thanks, Highway Star, I will. Much appreciated. Reply to comment 63, Stephen Truthseeker. In many ways, James Whale was, for a time, ahead of the game. He used to get Derek Akora on his radio show before Derek went big. Oh yeah, he was open-minded, Stephen. Derek Akora. He had mediums on there. He had spiritualists. He had shamans. Same video. The Crafty Nihilist. First in the time bracket of 8:31 AM and 8:33 PM, Sunday the 21st of August. That's right, Crafty. No one can take that away from you. I saw the Crafties in Bath. It was wonderful. I saw them both. A Dark Corners UK, same video. Hey Ben, the teachings of Don Juan, a Yaqui way of knowledge. Yes. Brilliant. Yes, that's the first book. Yes, excellent. Thanks for reminding me. And there was the Journey to Ixtlan, A Separate Reality. I can't remember. There was 4. I watched the 4 main ones, yeah. Oh, by Carlos Castaneda is available on YouTube as an audiobook. Thanks for your recommendation. I'm going to check it out. Go for it. Hope you enjoy it, Dark Corners. I really, really do. Right, No One's Flower says on reply to comments 63. The only people who won't entertain the hypothesis that the Earth is a measurably level plane are those who haven't examined the measurement themselves, or those who cannot understand how to do the measurements properly. Please prove this proposition wrong by a demonstration using real-world repeatable measurements taken from the ground, not surmised but from the intangible sky, that there is a curvature of a 3,959-mile radius. Right, No One's Flower. You're right. You're a flat earther, I take it. Right, fair enough. I'm not gonna react against you like an immune system hypersensitive reaction like some people do. I'm not a flat earther. And you say people won't entertain a hypothesis. I have entertained a hypothesis. I've debated this subject with Eric Weiss and with Mark Sargent, who's 2 of the biggest flatheads in the world. I've debated this with them. The measurement, yeah, you can do this measurement. In fact, I did. If you want an experiment, I did one myself in my video called a Streetcar Named Stargate. I did an experiment myself using the offshore wind farms in the Irish Sea. David Smith says underneath, if the Earth is a plane, then where are the wings? Check. Plane. They spelt it Plane as an aeroplane rather than the correct spelling, which is Plain. David, you wag. Hugo Rune says in reply to comment 53, your baseball cap may have an Aussie flag on it, but it's still an American baseball cap. I've always disliked your cap. If you want Australia, get a hat with corks hanging. Better than an American baseball cap. Sorry, Ben, I call them IQ reducers. Alright. Should I change this hat? I just keep it because it's candy, because I can't really wear it outside. And I quite like it. It covers my head. It prevents the sun, the light above me turning my head into a giant lighthouse. So I have to wear some kind of hat, yeah. Jamnoy72 says, it's just a cap, Hugo. People of all different IQs wear them. Light up your zoot and chill out. Hugo Rune says, big smile on my face. It's lit up. See, he goes, like Bill Hicks said, he goes, have one of these. Oh, I was taking life seriously for a moment there. David Smith said, I'd like to see Ben in a Crips or Bloods bandana. Oh, God. And Steve Mumbling, of course, who is Australian, at least he lives there now. I've lived in Australia for decades, 7 years in the bush, and I've never seen anyone wearing a hat with dangling corks. Hugo Rune says, sorry, excuse my humour, Monty Python's. Yeah, Steve, you can buy them in the tourist shops. I know, because when I was over there, you buy them, and most of the people who wear them are the tourists. I never saw an actual Australian wearing the hat with the corks. The corks are supposed to keep away flying insects. I don't know. I think probably a mosquito net would do a better job than that. So I don't know what the corks. I don't know where it all comes from. It's like, like the Americans think all British people live in thatched cottages, and we don't. Very few people live in thatched cottages. Certainly not in the cities. There are very few in the cities. In the countryside, maybe more so. But yeah. And so you always have these misconceptions. When I went to France, I didn't see many people wearing berets, although they're supposed to wear berets and stripy shirts and carry onions around their neck. Yeah. They do drink a lot of wine, though, that is true. Reply to comment 63, Jamnoy72. James Whale and Ash both look like 2 soulless puppets. They do, don't they? They do. They have, what's the phrase? They have the perfect faces for radio. Yes, I mean, they've gone downhill totally. Jam Noise says in reply to comments 63, I love being 50. It's amazing, and I'm still learning so much to do and see. Exactly, Jam Noise 72. You know what they say? 50 is the new 60. Yeah. Slaxer says, I'm 52 tomorrow. Wouldn't trade this age for the fool I was once in my youth. Yes, indeed, guys. I'm sort of in. I won't tell you exactly how old I am, but I am in your sort of ballpark. And no, I would never go back. I wouldn't want to. I was actually a very miserable young man. I had a miserable childhood. I was unstable. I was disturbed. I was unhappy, and this sort of like carried on into my when I was quite young. And as I grew older, I actually got better. And no, absolutely, I would only want to go forward in terms of age. I would. I don't know how long I'm going to live, but you know, I don't want to go back. I don't want to. Funny enough, I was watching my 2011 ASAP conference reportage, and which was done 11 years ago. I was surprised actually how I haven't actually aged that much in the last 11 years. I don't look that different. In terms of my face, I don't, slightly, obviously I put on a bit more weight around the cheeks, maybe a couple of wrinkles around the eyes, but I haven't aged considerably. I haven't. Not that I care really. But, I feel better now than I did for a long time. I really do. I think I'm healthier, physically and mentally. I am, yeah. Alright. Same video, reply to comment 63, and we have here Israel Diego Rivera, genius to the real genius, who says, Ben, are you going to come out of the closet as a skeptic? What will happen to the British Bigfoot? Diego Rivera, I'm not a skeptic. It's funny, I mean, I'm the one who keeps talking about how I'm not a skeptic. Do you think I doth protest too much? No, the guys, the woo-woos who come out as skeptics, are very different. The woos who come out as skeptics, ironically, they tend to be the ones who are most loudmouth anti-skeptics, the ones who will slag the skeptics off. It's got a lot to do with the zealotry of the recent convert. It's actually the people who are least tolerant of skeptics, and in other words, are dedicated woos and do not look at the other side of the story, the ones most likely to convert to skepticism, because they're so narrow-minded that when their chosen sacred philosophy lets them down in some way, they tend to feel betrayed, and they'll often go to the other side, almost as a form of rebellion. I can't help wondering if Susan Blackmore did this actually, judging by what she said. I don't know specifically, only she knows that, but she, as you know, I entertain skeptic ideas all the time. I challenge myself, I test myself by looking at their arguments, I interact with them socially. There's a lot of them at ASAP. That's one of the things I like about ASAP, actually. They do have quite a few skeptics there. I'm probably one of I may well become a skeptic one day, but I'm actually one of the least likely people on our side to do so, because I know their arguments, I've looked at them, I've tested my own rebuttals against them, and I found them wanting. But you never know. But if I ever become a skeptic, I'll just say it. I will just say it. It's very unlikely, but I will simply say it. Reply to comment 63. Diego Rivera says again, I'm glad you have found true love with Slaxer, Ben. I hope I get an invite to the wedding. Oh, it's a... Yeah, I mean, the Slaxer and I are both straight, It's funny, like, that two guys who are not gay can't really be affectionate to each other, can they, in this society? It's like, if they do, they're often accused of being gay. It's strange, isn't it? Gary Robinson says on reply to comment 63, hey Ben, I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but a woke corporation has now bought the rights to Lord of the Rings. Oh yeah, I have. Lock, Stock and Barrel, and oh, I see what you mean. Oh God, no. They've actually got the franchise, and they're going to be making a whole woke Lord of the Rings theme parks. What? I can't see anyone going to those if they're not genuine. Cheers. Oh, if this corporation wants to lose money, that's up to them. If they want to go broke, that's fine with me. They deserve to if they're going to shit on a beloved franchise like that, which is essentially, it's more than just a franchise. It's a part of our. It's become what Tolkien wanted it to be, a part of our indigenous mythology, essentially. Oh dear, just cheery me. I didn't realise they'd done that. I mean, I know since Christopher Tolkien died, they've been, as I said, they've been like rainbow striped vultures circling him, waiting. But oh god, I'm just going to switch the fan on, guys. I'm a little bit hot. But Gary, that's horrible news. And yeah, at the end of the day, though, we got the books, we've got Jackson's adaptation. I mean, they can't take those away from us. Thank God, Jackson, really, Peter Jackson, he's an absolute hero. You know, we needed a good cinematic adaptation of Lord of the Rings. There were several versions of the cartoons, but you know, thank God we had someone to do it before all this bullshit took hold. So yeah, that was 20 years ago those films came out. More than 20 years, yeah. Reply to comment 63, Gary Robinson. Ben, mate, in some more woke Star Wars news. Oh my good Gary, don't torture me. A number of whistleblowers have confirmed that Lucasfilm are going to be reshooting several scenes from the original Star Wars trilogy as in the movies from the 70s and 80s in order to make the original trilogy woke. Oh. Apparently they'll be using the deepfake technology that they used in The Mandalorian to create the young Skywalker, so the reshoots can feature the original cast, no doubt talking about diversity, inclusion, or something along those lines. It is madness, cheers. It's a madhouse, it's a madhouse! Oh dear. I mean, it's bad enough that George Lucas actually went and started fiddling with the old films. I mean, putting in new special effects and stuff. That was bad enough. I mean, this thing with the bloody Sarlacc was ridiculous. That was the worst. I could have tolerated, you know, spaceships above Mos Eisley and things like that. But the stupid beak they put on the Sarlacc was ridiculous. It was absurd. It was pathetic. Although, I mean, they basically. George Lucas just couldn't put up with the bloody critics who said, "Oh, he's got a problem with women, you know, he's got a problem with women because, oh, look at it, you know, a guy falls into a wet slimy hole and in there he suffers 1,000 years of agony as he's slowly eaten alive." You know, very Freudian, George. So George Lucas he put this stupid beak on the thing, which doesn't even work. I mean, when one of the guys actually tries to climb out and gets grabbed by the tentacle and is pulled back, you can see he's actually not climbing out of the beak. The beak is behind him. Like, you can't layer that correctly. But he still put it in there. He just couldn't bear this. He couldn't bear these people going, the Sarlacc, this criticism over the Sarlacc and the way what they were saying, what they were speculating about what it really means. Oh, it's so Freudian, you know, all that bollocks. And so he said, no, I've got to do this. I've got to make it look less feminine, basically. Oh my God. And the others. I mean, I just wish he'd left them alone completely. Basically, I wish he'd left all those Star Wars films as they were masterpieces. Why go back and keep polishing the cannonball? It's good enough as it is. We have it. Laura Meltz 77 LSK. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome. Reply to comment 63. I really do. The whole thing fascinates me. We'll email this week. Mr. Volt will tell you I'm quite legit. Oh, Mr. Volt. Oh, is that video? Oh, what? It's I'll check my emails, Laura. Okay, no problem. Reply to comment 63. Investigation with Nick. Hey, Nick. I met Nick. Nick was in Bath at ASAP, and we actually met. He exists. He's real. Yes. Thanks for the reply, Ben, about chemtrails. Oh yeah, no problem, Nick. Nick and you and I have discussed this, of course, face to face since then. I will check out the books you mentioned. So far, I have over 700 videos this year of trails in the sky. It's going to take me a while for me to analyse them all, and I do recall seeing trails last a very long time as well. I'm not denying chemtrails. I'm just trying to get my head around this phenomenon. Keep well, my friend. Will do, mate. Will do. And I hope you enjoy your exploration of the subject and whatever conclusion you come to. I just hope it's your own, and and no one should give you a hard time over it. It was really good to see you at the weekend. Really, really good. We had a wonderful time. We all went out for a meal. Me, Crafty Nihilist, a couple of other people. It was actually fantastic. Now we have UFO Disclosure 2022. Why now? This is my latest UFO disclosure video. And we have here Turbo Nutter Bastard. That's his name. Turbo Nutter Bastard. The UFO is obviously just an island and its reflection. Okay, right. I actually put a text comment here because I've heard this many times from skeptics that the Calvine UFO, because it looks symmetrical, so it's obviously just a reflection in water. But actually, if you look at it, you'll see it's not symmetrical and the two halves are not identical, so it's not a reflection. No. Reply to comment 63. Winslow Burdett. Hey Winslow, I think I'm addicted to listening to your reply to comments video, Ben's. Reply to comments videos, Ben. Keep them coming. Well, Winslow, here's your latest fix, mate. Don't go for therapy, whatever you're doing, mate. Is there any hope? Jack Burns. The Boudica section affected me watching it this morning. Hard to put into words upon listening to you discuss her. The events came alive for me after years of never really thinking much about it. What happened to her? The sadness from the finality of defeat after all the bravery. And you said the heroic loser seems to appeal very much to the British nature. Something so powerful and pure in the tales of figures like Boudica and Scott of the Antarctic, etc., which never grows old or diminishes by time. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, I've had Boudica moments in a few of my videos. Of course, there's going to be one when I go to Bath, and so that's coming up. That's coming up very soon. I've actually already sort of like edited the video, so the only reason I haven't uploaded it yet is because I want to get these comments done. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's got to be the most emotive tale of all, and of course because it is so connected to the Illuminati. Basically, it happened on the cusp of the Illuminati and pre-Illuminati ages, and Boudica was essentially trying to stop Illuminati rule in Britain. She didn't realise it, but she did. A Claire Ray Randall interview. Darren Retro says first. Well done, Darren. Well done. Good man, says Mark Porrett. Yes, indeed. And on the same video, Diego Rivera says, I identify as Ben Emlyn-Jones. And I said, Rick Horden says, no, you don't. No, lol. And I put a text comment. That's cultural appropriation. Nothing as it seems, says on Claire Ray Randall interview. She drove a Plymouth Satellite Planet Claire B-52s. Which I haven't heard that song. But I like the B-52, so it's very good. Reply to comment 63. Marky Boy. I just heard the UFO theme tune. Yeah, dum 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 dum. Lisa of Cry Freedom Radio actually made up a jingle for me on her HPANWO radio with that. What a great series that was. It was very good, wasn't it? I loved it as a lad, but the whole premise was very dark, with the aliens harvesting human organs. I completely missed that until I watched all the series again these years later. Still quality, though, compared to the trash on television now. I'm a license exempt and stopped watching TV as a result. Much better for it. Exactly. Marky, it's like when you suddenly, you just get rid of some poison in your life, and you're sitting in a room full of foul air and suddenly you open a window and fresh air comes in. It's like that when you get rid of your TV. Now, UFO was good. It's a futuristic story about an attempted alien invasion, and there's like an Earth Defense Force to try and fight them off, which of course has very sinister connotations for the fake alien invasion scenario. But it's still a good series. It's a Jerry Anderson, which he went on to live action after he did the puppet shows in the 60s. Reply to comment 63. Marky Boy. I just heard Mumbling make an arse of himself. It's all those sheep for company and piss warm lager. It's made him bitter. I'll have to check out his channel. I love it. Mumbling makes an arse of himself on my channel as well with his comments. But yeah, although he's been knocking down the VB. Funny enough, bitter in Australia is just like lager. It's not proper. It's not proper bitter. Reply to comment 63. Marky Boy said, I don't believe Lewis Hamilton is a taxpayer. Well, of course not. He's Barack Obama's son. Haven't you heard that? Yes, right. And Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. Same video, Marky Boy. Yes, Lotus Eaters appear to be the only people talking about the CDC's turnaround on the coof. It shows that those of us granny killing the tinfoil hatters appear to have been correct. Weird how the legacy media have stayed silent on it as well. Follow the science is a one-way street, it seems. Yeah, it's kind of been forgotten. It's like it's gone down the memory hole. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different, all the things, basically all the things they said about the C word and the V word all those couple of years ago now, they just sort of like, they're just sort of backpedaling, and they're just, you know, like these people, they're talking like, oh no, we always said that, we haven't changed our minds, you know, Eurasia is our ally, we're at war with East Asia now. Oh, it's George Orwell's right. Gary Robinson says on Claire Ray Randall interview, very interesting interview, Ben. Props to Claire. I'm fairly convinced that the current madness Claire is fighting against, along with many other types of madness that are currently popular, have infiltrated Western culture as part of the silent war being waged by a rising superpower. Michael Francesi, who was a well-respected public speaker, one-time high-ranking member of the mafia in the USA, recently mentioned that he was told by people guarding borders in a currently crumbling empire that the rising superpower is currently using Mexico as a way of flooding the crumbling superpower with bad substances in order to attack that crumbling superpower from within. I believe that the madness is part of the same campaign. I thought you did a great job interviewing Claire, by the way, mate. Your talents certainly extend beyond the woo. Cheers. Thanks, Gary. Thanks. It's all connected, though, isn't it? The whole business with... It's all connected, the whole business with the T word, the T word, the TS word, which you're not allowed to say, to do with gender and things like that. And as for the China, I assume you're referring to China here. China, of course, is the only real power. Well, the principal is global power. There's the Illuminati, there's the deep state, the global power, and then the people. It's basically that's the main war between the globalists and the people. China, of course, is now being used by the globalists in the 21st century, the same way they used the USA in the 20th. They boosted the USA, especially after World War II. And now they're, of course, with their agents like Joe Biden and Bill Clinton and others, they have they've tried to ruin the USA. Now the USA is no longer useful; it's been relegated. And of course, there's many ways of destroying a nation and reducing it from a superpower, and they're using all of them on the United States, and it's awful. That's why they were so keen to get rid of Trump, because he started to reverse that process. Make America Great Again. It's not just a buzzword created by the Koch brothers or something. It's something fundamental. It's something fundamental to his philosophy. Gary Robinson says on Claire Ray Randall interview, here's a weird one for you, Ben. After reading my previous comment, I clicked edit to fix a typo, and this video reloaded with a very long stream of comments. I thought that was odd, as where there were only 7 comments, including my own, before I clicked the edit button. I refreshed the page and those comments disappeared. So for all those people who accuse you of deleting comments, something strange is definitely going on with YouTube. Well, thanks for letting me know, Gary, because that is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking. I've noticed that myself. I've actually they come through. I get email notifications, and I click on them, and they're not there. The comments are not there. I'll just double check. That's very strange indeed. But yeah, I always go like that when I go to open email, because of bloody you might go, oh, you've got this, you've got that, you've got that. You know, there's like Gmail is where all my snotograms from YouTube come from. You know, oh, you've had this. You know, we've done this copyright claim, bloody blah, community guidelines, etc. All right then, guys. And where was I? But thanks for letting me know, Gary. And this is your message for mumbling. Investigation with Nick. My documents have been deleted twice on previous videos. Definitely not Ben doing that. It's all down to YouTube. They've blocked me completely from commenting on my other YouTube channel, even when paying for premium. Nick, they are absolutely soulless and ruthless. They have no concept of fair play. They don't have a sense of fair play. Slaxer explained in one of his videos, he got demonetized and he went back to his videos and he saw that there were still ads on them. Well, who's taking the revenue? YouTube are taking... They demonetized the videos because of principles to do with community guidelines, and they carry on putting ads on them. Yeah, it's awful, isn't it? Cosmic Claire says, I put in a test comment and edited it, and I saw your other comment, Gary, but now it's disappeared. Gary Robinson says to Claire, I'll tell you what, Claire, I was quite shocked this morning when that happened. After I clicked edit and the page reloaded, there were a ton of comments, and I was scrolling to try and find mine. That's why I ended up refreshing the page, at which point only 7 comments were on the page. Very strange. Gary Robinson says to investigate with Nick, maybe it's time for us to switch to I think you mean BitChute, BC. Oh, of course, I'm on BitChute, definitely. And feel free to leave comments there, guys. I mean, it's easy. Just setting up an account is simplicity itself. And you just basically email, username, password, that's it. Nick says, it's coming to that stage. YT are really cracked down. Yeah. They're making this stuff unusable. I mean, I'll talk in a little while about what happened with my crypto, my Cryonics video. It's come back, believe it or not, which is strange. I'll tell you more about that later. Alright, there's an old one now. Hellfire Caves, part 1 of 10. Hi, Wickham. Christy K says, welcome, Christy. Welcome. I've recently visited the Hellfire Caves with my family. I was searching for the most haunted episode and found you. Hey, Christy, that means well, that's interesting, because normally most haunted, which is mainstream, you'd get it there, and I wouldn't normally recommend it in the column because I've been shadow banned. But the fact that you found me is very good. Did you have to scroll down very far? And Christy continues, which I was quite excited about, as I've seen you on Rich Planet and Thomas Barden-Rees's show previously. Oh, thanks, Christy. I'm glad you enjoyed those. I also get a strange feeling when I go to High Wycombe and Milton Keynes. You as well, not just me. They do have an atmosphere that doesn't feel very friendly. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels heavy, quite different to Oxford or Aylesbury. I thought this was probably just me, and I'm glad and felt it. And I'm so glad I'm not the only one. Oh, Christy, well, thank you very much for letting me know. Thank you. It's a lovely comment to put on. You've never commented before. I'm glad you watched Rich Planet and Thomas, which I've been on. Yeah. But yeah, it's to do with energy, isn't it? It's just to do with the sense you get of something, inner standing, as Lisa calls it. But thanks for that. Claire Ray Randall interview, investigates with Nick. Great interview, Ben, and many thanks to Claire Ray Randall for speaking her thoughts on this agenda and staying true to what she believes in. I just ordered the book, Stay Strong. Oh, thanks, Nick. Hope you enjoy it. David Smith says on reply to comment 63. Oh, here's okay. It's a quite a long one. Oh, this is going to be fun. Talking about people being being victims of their circumstance and life events does make you sound like a woke lefty, Ben, or maybe just human. Of course, I'm joking, but this is what I hear when you keep saying everything you disagree with is woke. I don't say everything I disagree with is woke. I have a distinct definition for woke. Just put it in the woke bucket. No need to address the details. It seems to me just another way for people to sidestep thinking critically about something. David, I'm not doing that. I'm explaining in detail why I'm saying what I do, and I invite people to criticize me for saying that. And I'd like you to do that rather than just misrepresenting me and turning me into a straw man. Why don't you just address what I've said? I'm not suggesting everything you label woke is good. Just that it has a lot of nuance, and I see right-leaning people and conspiracy theorists getting things factually wrong. Well, fair enough, David. Be my guest to explain exactly what we got wrong and why. Consider that apparently the New World Order have the ability to dustify buildings with lasers. I never said that. They don't dustify buildings with lasers. They dustify buildings with something very different from lasers, from a weapon using the Hutchison effect, which is caused by the interference of electromagnetic fields. Generate lifelike holograms, where you can... Is that a weird claim? You don't... It's not secret technology to generate holograms, David. I've seen I saw one at Thorpe Park when I was a kid, and that was quite a long time ago. It was quite realistic. There's been the famous one of Michael Jackson dancing on stage after he was dead. Not to mention all the magical otherworldly powers you think exist in some form or another, they must also have a hand in. You really think they couldn't clone Trump or replace him in some way? Control his mind? How can you tell this hasn't happened? To be honest, David, I don't know completely. I don't know. Some people claim that Boris has been cloned. I don't know exactly how high the level the cloning technology is. So I'm not 100% certain either way. I mean, you have to sometimes just make a guess on... you have to make a fuzzy logic choice, I think. Is it outlandish to think that some of these things are possible but others not? No, not at all. You offer no real way to demonstrate the difference between them. It's all preconceived on the part of the conspiracy theorist to fit the narrative they want. Well, yes, I do offer a way to demonstrate the difference between them, and that is, firstly, I explain why I think a certain way, then I invite you and other people who disagree with me to say why I'm wrong, and I explain, rather than just, you use quite a lot of rhetoric here, and you make a general sweeping statement about conspiratorial philosophy versus woke philosophy versus skeptic philosophy, but you don't actually explain much. David, it's quite a long comment you've left here, where you don't actually explain very much. If you want, I'd rather you explain something. Reply to comment 63. Steve Mumbling has sent me a link. What is it? Is it his video? It's one of his videos, I bet. Let's have a look, shall we? I'll show you guys it.
Our lives are a hive of activity.
Oops. No, it's oh, this is the basement office again. This is the basement office. I'll just wait for the ads to... Oh, God. It's a 20-second ad and no skip button. Great. I bet if there's another ad on this, Steve, I'll just watch it later. This is more on Skinwalker Ranch, Dino Beaver, Hitchhiker Ghost, Pentagon or Sap, the basement office. Oh, here we go. This is a 15-second ad. Oh, 25th of August is a more recent one. Thank you very much, Steve. How long is it, though? That's the question. It's 24 minutes. Previously on the basement office. All right.
In 1996, a Utah ranch owner told a local newspaper
his voice sounds like his voice sounds a bit like Ryan Sprague, actually.
That he and his family were being harassed.
There's Bob Bigelow there.
And in 2000, Walker,
scientist. The phenomena.
That's it. Well, he's quite. Oh, it's Popey.
Working with Senator Reid.
It's Popey. Here he is.
Because of that meeting, it is decided that Reid decides something needs to be
Thank you very much. This is obviously a continuation on the whole AutoSap thing. Yeah. Thank you, Steve. I will have a look at that. I will have a look at that later. But of course, the video. The video you sent me previously, there wasn't a lot in there I've actually not heard of before. But of course, as people dug down deeper, they realised there was a discrepancy between the whole ATIP ORSAP thing that Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal had said. Now, you may... the question is, did Leslie Kean do the right thing? Because she publicised... I think she was deliberately ambiguous about the difference between ATIP and ORSAP. And she did that because... she wanted to portray ATIP as being like ORSAP, in other words, an official project, etc., with a budget and things like that, rather than Lou Elizondo's pet project. But she probably, I can't help thinking she did the right thing, because as she explains in the video, if she'd been just literally honest, the whole story would have been thrown out. We'd never heard about it. As a result of her being economical with the truth, she's essentially got the truth out. You may disagree with her on that. You may have some kind of like Dutch Protestant attitude to lying. I personally don't. It's rather like do you remember like Kenobi tells Luke Skywalker in Star Wars that his father is dead when of course he's not. Was it that line from the Matrix? There's a difference between walking the path and knowing it, because of course the Oracle lies to Neo, doesn't she? Yeah. All right, guys. I'll have a look at that later, Steve. Thank you very much. I'm interested to see what Nick Pope says in all this. Reply to comment 63. Stephen Trusick. Ben, the mistake most people make is seeing the universal creator. Oh, sorry, I could put a reply to Steve as well. Here we go. is seeing the universal creator, God, as a person. I see God, natural law, as an energy source that's in all living things and does have real karmic laws to protect itself. The Nephilim go against these laws and try to make humans break natural law. The intelligence of natural law is beyond most normal people's thinking. God is not a person. All right, well, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, I've never really thought of God that way either. I've always thought of God more as like a consciousness of the universe rather than some kind of figure. Certainly not a guy with a beard on a cloud. I mean, that's an interesting perspective you have there. Marky Boy sends underneath, I think God is whatever those of us who see dark and light is an interpretation of something none of us really know what it is. Well, it could be something we can't quite explain. Maybe Stephen sees it as this energy source, but maybe it's something beyond. Oh, that's the end of an hour. Right, you are. Okay. We're going to come to the end. We're going to come to the end of that, but I'll just finish this bit here. But it could be something that we can't actually understand or comprehend completely from our perspective as being here on this world. Stephen says in reply to Marky Boy, I've just explained some of the knowledge and truth I've gained through personal experience, best way of learning, and my ongoing research. Thanks, guys. Thanks for all those comments. Second hour coming up, so stay tuned. Okay, guys, I'm back for part 2. So, let's move swiftly on here. We have now on Boudica Statue, part 1 of 2, HPANWO London Truth Tour, part 6. Siarif Hidayat. Alright, yeah. This is a real hero without any bullshitting about slavery. Absolutely. Yeah, that's true, Siardaf. Thanks very much. That's a lovely old video I did ages ago. I really like. Right, Cryonics live stream. This is back, by the way. Nothing it seems says. It's more the way your eyes laughing as they glance. Okay, there's a link here. There's a YouTube link. Nothing is put here. Let's have a look. What does this say? If there's loads of ads on this or nothing, I'm afraid I can't watch it. Come on. It's taking a while to load this page. That's strange. Oh, well, it's maybe because I've got the media player. I'm just converting the file that I've just done. It's a flaw something. What's it called? A flaw. A flock of seagulls. Oh, Space Age love song. Oh, right. A flock of seagulls. Oh, Lisa likes the flock of seagulls. Yeah. Okay. Right, so now we have, let's carry on. Thank you very much, nothing. Hugo Rune says on Cryonics livestream, oh, me first comment. I'm enjoying this, but not a subject that interests me. I am more annoyed with myself for missing this live. I wanted to. Must try harder to catch your next live, lol. Fair enough, Hugo. I always put up a notice 24 hours at least beforehand, or thereabouts, so you can always come and you can always keep checking those, and you'll know about it. Cryonics live stream, Hugo. I'm a normal person. I have zero belief in this technology. Right, you're Hugo. Yeah, it's. I mean, even the people involved say there's no guarantee it's going to work, and many scientists consider it a pseudoscience. But yeah, it's something that more and more people are getting interested in, though. Hugo Rune says, I've been listening to you for years. Materialist Bravery Award, MBA, new to me. Really, Hugo? Hugo, and I'm surprised. I mean, I do bring it. I mean, when did I last bring up MBA? Well, probably the most recent time I brought up the MBA was in my Sufon video. Have you seen that? It's my skeptic video. If you've not seen it, that's probably where I explain it. But or maybe, oh no, I used a different analogy then. It's certainly in all my skeptic videos I bring this up. Because I think it's something that really motivates them. I think it's something that causes them. It affects them socially and it affects them psychologically, very much so. Hugo Rune says on Cryonics live stream, I'm born, I live, I die, that's it. No afterlife, heaven, nirvana, hell, whatever. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't agree with you on that, Hugo. But if you also don't believe in cryonics, then, yeah, I mean, that's it, yeah, for you. as far as from your beliefs, yeah. Hugo Runes. All right, I think Hugo's got the message now. Me, superior. I have signs on my hallway walls asking the nurses for euthanasia. I don't want to waste their time. What? Oh, Hugo. I'm not going to read the rest of that sentence. But you say here, but my cannabis? The nurses are so frightened of what they call the police on me. I know, that's bloody bitches. That's a bitchy thing to do. No, I want their... Alright. No, I want their drugs now. Come on, you doctors and nurses. Give me your safe drugs that is impossible to overdose on, that can actually do the job as good as cannabis. Sorry for the rant. I've had a few beers too. That's alright, Hugo. And I do hope you feel better soon. You sound a bit down. And I do hope you feel better soon, mate. I really do. Cryonics live stream. Social status. Now I get you. Yeah, the NBA essentially is about that. Sorry, I don't have any social status. No further comment. But then again, after another beer, damn this drink. Oh yeah. Well, you see, the NBA would, if you were in skeptic circles. I mean, I know you probably don't move in the circles where it applies, but it would give you social status. In some circles, like in philosophical, atheo-skeptico circles, yeah, it does. Cryonics live stream. NDE. I should point out, I did detect this at ASAP quite considerably, the conference I've just been to. So NDE, or the body releasing some compound like a drug, cannabis-based, to ease your death. Sorry, me and cannabis, that's what I'm like, lol. Well, one of the theories about their near-death experience is that it's designed to, it's something that evolved to cause you to basically go on a high trip when you're dying, so you don't like thrash around and scream and alert the predators or something like that. It's not cannabis based though. It's actually the mechanism of DMT was discovered by Rick Strassman. That it comes from the pineal gland. It's DMT, dimethyltryptamine. Which, of course, you can ingest from outside. I mean, this is the active ingredient of ayahuasca. Gary Robinson's been talking about that. But Rick Strassman, I should point out, though, is not a skepper. He went into it thinking he would be a skepper. He came out of it actually believing in not only the afterlife, but in other worlds. So that was simply a result of his study. But your body does release things in the body. Actually, your brain does release chemicals that help you deal with difficult psychological circumstances, which could include your imminent death. These are, for example, endorphins. They're called endorphins, and adrenaline. These things do help, which is why people are being tortured. They'll suddenly stop screaming and start laughing their heads off. That's endorphins. It's interesting, that, isn't it? Hugo Roon, there's a timestamp here on the Cryonics live stream. What's this then? What is it for, Hugo? Just waiting for the video to open. If you do it, let me put a yes in chat right now. If you would become a cryonicist and you'd be frozen when you're dead. Oh right, yeah, okay. And Hugo says here, I would. Would I? So Hugo says, would I? No interest. Why am I watching this? Well, because I wouldn't either, Hugo. But I still watch documentaries about it. I mean, I'm quite interested in it. The idea of an entertain. It's the idea of was it? I think it was Plato or someone said the definition of an intelligent mind is the idea to entertain an idea without necessarily accepting it. So I like you, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't waste money. I think it would be a waste of money on this. I wouldn't want to be frozen after I die. After I die, I just want whoever wants to use my body for whatever purpose can do so, which would mean they can take my organs, then they can burn me, whatever they like. No, I don't want to be deep frozen. Right, oops, what's happening now? My page is, my browser is frozen. I'm going to have to keep you, alright, I'm going to have to keep, it's unfrozen now. Alright, Cryonics live stream again. Hugo Roon says, yes, animals hibernate, but it does not increase their lifespan. Does it not? Well, if they hibernate naturally, maybe it does, but we don't. Oh, God. Come on, guys. This is simply because I think my media player is running. I'm just trying to put this reply in. David Splendid Isolation said, this is a long comment here. It's long been known with rodent experiments that calorie restriction largely increases lifespan. Yeah, it could be that similar species who do not hibernate have shorter lifespans because they don't hibernate. We don't know, Hugo, because you can't compare an animal like a squirrel where they all hibernate. There's no control group which don't hibernate. Oh dear, my browser is now really going slow. Okay, it's trying to post a comment but can't. Save video Cryonics live stream. I'm very annoyed with myself for missing this live bar humbug. Sorry, I didn't read the rest of David Splendid Isolation's comments. It has long been okay. Hugo, David then goes on to say things about Jesus. I'm sorry, David, no offence, but I'm not going to read all this out. I'm sorry. It's all things from you can learn from the Gospels and things like that. So I apologise for that, but it's not for me. It's not my scene. I'm sorry. But yeah, Hugo, you can't really say that the hibernation has an effect on lifespan unless the experiment has been done about that. But you see, hibernation is like that. It's essentially like a coma. It's natural that they do it in winter. Technically, could you do this to humans? Well, it often happens in science fiction, like in 2001: A Space Odyssey, where there's the guys in cold storage. Cryonics live stream. Hugo Rune says here, you mentioned an unusually cold winter. How is this possible with global warming? Also, I remember the summer of 1976. Well, that's the point, isn't it? If they go for an unusually cold winter, they're going to have to. They know people are going to question global warming. At the same time, they can then really hit us hard with the eat or heat meme. The whole eat or heat thing. The fear of the dread and fear of being too cold, not having enough energy to heat your house and things like that. And David Splendid Isolation says underneath, they now bang on about climate change with hotter summers and colder winters. Whichever way the weather goes, they use confirmation bias to blame man for it, and the masses just suck it up. It's a cult that infected the scientific, political and social world. That's right. This could be what they'll pull, David, in order to preserve the two narratives and not make them contradict. Because some climate scientists are stating that some parts of the world will get colder with global warming, and one of those is Western Europe, because of the Atlantic conveyor, the Gulf Stream. They say that warmer seas and warmer temperatures generally will cause the Gulf Stream to diminish, which means that the warmth which comes from the Gulf of Mexico across the Atlantic Ocean and basically bathes Western Europe like a lovely log fire is going to go away, which essentially means that Western Europe will get a climate similar to other countries on that latitude, which include Quebec, Newfoundland. In other words, subarctic. So they'll probably say that actually if we get a very cold winter this year. They'll say, "Oh, that's the Gulf. Oh, that's caused by the Gulf Stream diminishing." Kerry Woolley says on Cryonics live stream. The 1963 Lyndon Johnson said, "He who controls the weather controls the world." Yes, exactly. Neil Attenborough says on Nope Film Review, I thought the part with the... Oh, it's quite a long comment here. Okay. No, it's got a see all, but it's not that long. Neil says, I thought the part with the cloud fixation in one area was an interesting picked up on camera installation. Parts were quite gripping, yet it just seemed not to have much delivery or something about it. Good acting, yet the dialect wasn't familiar with me at times. Yeah, that's kind of what my assessment of it, Neil. I actually contacted Belfast BAP and told him about the cloud. He hasn't got back to me, so Neil says it kind of had a Sky Tremors theme about it. Overall passable yet hyped up. Still worth watching. Stunning scenery and real spacey sense of time. Atmospheric as well. Yeah, I'd say it's watchable. 5 out of 10 I think I gave it. Nothing exceptional though. But yeah, I mean in terms of time it's actually quite slow paced. It is atmospheric. I thought that it was quite well done, the creation of the atmosphere. But it is it's slow paced and as I said, the ufological theme is very, very crude, I think, despite it has its interesting element. But I'm very pleased it wasn't woke. Unlike Peele's last film, Get Out, which was horrible anti-white hate fest, this one wasn't. It wasn't there at all. Now I put up a community notice which was about my basically about what happened was the Cryonics live stream got deleted, didn't it? It got deleted. So what I did was I put up a notice saying my recording of my Cryonics live stream has been deleted due to I couldn't read the rest of it now. But I'll just find it. Hang on a sec. Browser slow. There we go. Alright, let's have a look. Let's go to about. No, it's community, isn't it? Community page. I put up this. I said here, the recording of my Cryonics live stream has been deleted due to an alleged copyright infringement. I consider it a clear case of fair use and will of course appeal. Luckily I have downloaded it and I'm also editing out the offending material and will upload a revised cut soon. I have copies of the comments posted under the original recording. I don't need those copies now because they have restored it. Now I'm pleased it's been restored, and in fact Alliance of Calgon said, could you put the original on Odyssey? Nice to see you over there, Ben. Good day to you. And I said I will very soon. Good day to you. And I did. I put all the when I posted the edited version up on YouTube. I posted the original on AltTech. The original version on YouTube has been restored. They sustained my complaint, my appeal against the strike. I said it was fair use, and it was fair use. The thing is, like, they don't tell you when they do that. They make a big song and dance, and send you all these really bitchy comments on Gmail saying, "Oh, we've removed this, that, and the other. You really need to look at community. You know, would you like to re-examine our policy again?" Stuff like this, and they make you feel really like you're some guilty child. They really do. It's really patronising. And then you appeal against it, and you leave it, and you think, right. And they said they'll get back to you within 30 days. Well, it was about a week, and then Cryonics livestream just reappears. But they don't contact you and say, sorry, we were wrong, we've restored it. They don't tell you they've restored it. I found out when I suddenly noticed it was back. So there you are. I'm leaving the edited version up anyway. Crafty Nihilist said on the same notice, on the community notice, was it that video of you age 13? Neil says, Gary Glitter said it was fair use. Crafty Nihilist laughed. No, it was this thing from BBC World. It was like The Secret You. It's a documentary that's banned from YouTube. But you can find it on Daily Motion and other places. I just played I played a short clip of it, which I commentated on, which is fair use. Brett Riverboat says, a joke. I really enjoyed the stream. You did nothing wrong. Thanks, Brett. Thank you very much. David White says on the same notice, what was the specific claim? And I replied to David by text. It's the bloody clip from the BBC Horizon docu, for fuck's sake. It's such an open and shut case of fair use. The edited version is now posted. And David says, yeah, bloody ridiculous as usual. Yeah. If it wouldn't have been if they didn't restore it, it wouldn't have been in the end of the world, because it's all over AltTech, of course. Diego Rivera says on Cryonics live stream edited, what happened there? Houston, we have a problem. Yes. Oh, I'm glad I downloaded it. Yeah, definitely. Cryonics live stream edited. Be reawakened in this body? No thanks. Oh well. Hopefully, Hugo. But if they have the technology. If they have the technology to bring you back from the dead, presumably someone will have maybe developed the technology to get you back on your feet again. You know, that's the idea. I mean, that's always the hope, I suppose, isn't it? And Cryonics livestream edited. Hugo Rune says, stick an old head on a young body. Well, the idea is if you're a neuro, which means you just have your head frozen, which is much cheaper than your whole body and a whole body interment. They'd be able to grow you a new body with stem cells or something, which means you might have to stay in the freezer for a bit longer till the technology exists. But excuse me, it is a possibility. It's a possibility. Cryonics livestream edited. Dark Corners UK. Hey Ben, love your conference videos. Watching your reportages has got me in the mood to attend some conferences myself. However, I've never attended one before. Can you recommend a good conference in or around the Norfolk area? Oh, Norfolk. Probably the nearest one is the Mablethorpe group in Lincolnshire, which I've just been speaking at, and they do a conference once a month. Oh, I say conference, it's a meeting, but they usually have about 50 or so people. It's in Mablethorpe. It's every so often. I mean, I recommend getting in touch with them. But there's, apart from other areas, there's also the Dark Corners. I forgot. There's also, how could I forget, the East Anglia UFO group. Go and join them. They're great. I love them. Okay, so my community notice about Cryonics livestream disappearing. Mark Hollingsworth says, I looked for this yesterday afternoon, Ben. We'll watch the trimmed one. Can't go upsetting Auntie Beeb now. Ridiculous. Auntie Beeb can go and do the other thing, honestly. Deary bloody me. Oh, it's awful. Right, Toxic Skies film reviewed. Oh, hang on. So I'm going to have to refresh this because it's like... I'm just going to refresh this page. Whoops, because... Now, Toxic Skies, I think this person's going to say something about Anne Heche, because Anne Heche was in Toxic Skies. I think it was actually after... I don't know specifically, but I think it might have been after she did Wag the Dog. Let's keep going down. Here we go. Yes, Anne Heche got Epsteined, said Curiosity. How did she... I think she was hit by a car or something, wasn't she? Here we go, let's have a look. Anne... Just wait for it to appear. Heche. Anne Heche. I think she's very good. I mean, she was very good as Winifred in Wag the Dog. As you know, I did an entire review or watch. I did a whole watch party on Wag the Dog. Filmography. Let's have a look. Apparently she had mental health issues and yep, she had a car crash on August the 5th. And the vehicle struck a house, broke through the wall and embedded itself 30 feet into the building, trapping Heche inside. The vehicle caught fire, which spread through the entire building. The house fire took 65 minutes to fully extinguish. Firefighters were unable to access and fully extricate Heche from the vehicle. Initially, they were not aware that a person was trapped in the vehicle. Heche sustained severe burns and smoke inhalation injuries by the time she was rescued. Heche was removed from the crash scene, and she was filmed sitting up on a stretcher, struggling with paramedics. Oh, right. Then she lost consciousness. Oh, right. She was moved to several hospitals, including a burn centre at the Grossman Burn Centre at West Hills Hospital. Yeah. Whether that counts as being Epstein, I don't know. I mean, it's odd that she was sitting up in the stretcher after being pulled out of a car. Let's just have a look at the... Okay, Toxic Skies movie. When was that released? 2008, right. So Toxic Skies came after Wag the Dog, which was like 11 years earlier. That's interesting. Okay. But it had Anne Heche in it, yeah. Wag the Dog was a much better film, I think. But Curiosity says Anne Heche got Epstein. I say underneath, possibly for her role in Wag the Dog. That's probably more likely to be... It's for that reason probably more than Toxic Skies. Toxic Skies is also an independent, low-circuit, limited release film, whereas Wag the Dog was a mainstream release. Cryonics livestream edited. Tor Engen says, some years ago, the guy with his uncle on ice in Canada asked me to attend enema and ice bathing for one documentary. Was not keen to attend. Oh, what? Enema and ice bathing? What's that supposed to do for you? Right, rocket launch cancellation live stream. Nothing as it seems, says here. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, did that rocket? That rocket didn't launch, did it? I think that's to wheel it back to the barn. Because I mean, I was away, of course. Video unavailable. Okay, it's Lagrange, 1999. Okay, video unavailable. Oddly enough, the title is still, but the video's not there. Okay, I don't know what is Lagrange. Nothing, as it seems. Oh, Lagrange. Oh, it's a horror movie, isn't it? Yes, it's a horror movie of some kind. Oh, it's a song? Is it a song? Oh, it's a song from Armageddon, and it's by ZZ Top. Right. Okay. No, the Grange Point. Yeah. Rocket launch cancellation on Live Street. Willinslow Burder. Ben, we have a problem. Yeah, they certainly do, don't they? Not half. Same video, Gary Robinson. Ben, mate, whatever happened to the Star Wars weapons systems from the 80s? I remember seeing that in the news most days when I was a kid. I also remember there was talk about George Lucas complaining they were using the name Star Wars. Cheers, yes. I remember that, yeah. Well, Star Wars technically it's gone quiet, probably because it's being developed in secret by the Space Force. We will stop the weaponization of space, as Carol Rosin said. But I remember there was a lawsuit. Yeah, the Lucasfilm actually said that the name Star Wars, of course, was a nickname for the whole thing, but they were using it They were using it officially as if it was like a full. What's the word? It's a full, proper name, and I remember that indeed. Yes, I remember that very much indeed. Okay. Oh, Charles Scott. What's this about, Charles? Okay. Regarding your response, yeah, with particular reference to my comment in reply to comment 61, my response is aimed at your sane, honest YouTube viewers because I already anticipate your response will be worthless dross, spouting hot air with your lying, drivel narrative. Okay, well, Charles, if you're just going to use rhetoric like that and insults, well, that's not an answer, is it? Is this about what I think it's going to be about? Your comment is here so people can see it. Oh, are you going to apologise to me? I've speculated why, without question, you lied, saying you didn't get a response from Chris, and it's virtually certain the response from Chris was you seeing the email invoice. All right, okay, you're going down that route, are you? You're going down that route. Now, I think I have. I might actually read this out. I think I might read the rest of it out for amusement because it's actually a little bit original. As I said, you say. I've lied saying that Chris Evers never sent me an invoice. Chris Evers has said he sent me an invoice after I uploaded my video and produced a document that looks like that. You have said that you say that is a real document. Your evidence for saying it's a real document is exactly the same as the evidence I provided you. The evidence I provided you was a screenshot, like Chris's, of my email correspondence with Chris over the years, which does not contain any of these things. Now, I wrote to him, I think twice on Facebook, twice on email, once on Facebook or something. He never replied. Now, you were saying basically that I've got an itch on my back. You were saying basically that when I and Chris both provide exactly the same kind of evidence, which might be real and might be fake. Of course, I believe mine is real. You believe it's fake. I mean, you don't have to take my word for that, but it is real. You say that Chris is correct. Chris is correct, and I am lying. So that is an a priori judgment where you are presented with exactly the same evidence, yet you give someone the benefit. You give one person the benefit of the doubt, and not the other. Now, if you're going to do that. I can't discuss this with you. I can't discuss this with you because you are going to assess everything I say in that light. I went to this. What's the problem? I did it. You say you obtained an OLM ticket elsewhere, and took. Yep, and yeah, I'm not going to say the rest of that, but I did actually attend the conference in disguise. And you say that everyone knew it was me. Yes, everyone knew it was me. It's funny that, because like they are, as I predicted, everyone said that they knew all along it was me. They decided not to say anything, but they all knew it was me. Everyone was watching me. Everyone looked at him and said, "Yeah, that's Ben. That's Ben." Oddly enough, nobody actually said that though until after I posted my video, which is very odd because they had all the time there and a couple of days afterwards because it took me a while to get home to say so, and they never did. Oh, and I said, "Oh, this is ridiculous here." Me attending the OLM conference dressed as David Jones puts their reputation in tatters. Really? Charles, I think what I did is the ultimate victimless crime. I said I would go there and not cause any trouble, and I went there and I didn't cause any trouble. Everyone had a great time. And Charles then said, "Sadly, Ben, you have shown an obnoxious side to your personality. It's disgraceful what you did to those people at OLM." What did I do? I turned up at their conference and behaved. Yes, I deceived them. But it's like I said, the deception is not one of... it's not a deception which actually causes them any harm. You making a mockery out of them and giving the misleading impression they were liars when they said and they said you were not banned. I did make a mockery about them, but I don't believe that I was not banned, as for reasons I've explained. I see your demeanour towards others as less captivating now, a liar with a suspected mental illness and a noxious side to your character. Oh, God. Some of your YouTube viewers will rightly now use greater discernment, as undoubtedly you give out misinformation and disinformation, or simply put the words of Steve Mumbling, some of your erudition is absolute rubbish. Well, Charles, I don't believe I'm any of those things. You've not explained why. You've not explained why someone turning up at a conference, just sitting there and listening with everyone else, and then going home at the end of the day, the end of the weekend, is somehow damaging and harming, and it's a disgrace to do that to them. Disgraceful behaviour. My behaviour was perfect. I just sat there I was very quiet, hardly spoke to anyone, and everyone had a wonderful time. Oh, but it's pretty clear you've made up your mind. As I said, you are judging, you're prejudging everything I say and what Chris says. Okay. What Chris did is pretty. I obviously believe that Chris is the one not being honest here. Well, I can't prove that. I can't prove that he didn't try to contact me, even though, funnily enough, none of the emails got through, even though he's on my contacts list. He didn't even contact me to say, "Why do you keep writing to me, Ben? I've already sent you the invoice." No, it's a cope. I suspect that it's a cope. Just like the people who said, "We knew it was Ben all along." And then Chris says, "Oh, Ben wasn't banned." It's a very predictable cope, which I thought they would do. Now, you obviously think otherwise. But I can't discuss this with you. Like I said, I cannot discuss this issue with you anymore, Charles. I'm not going to delete your comments. Your comments there so people can read it. People can make that up their own minds. Anyway, I'm just testing this. Right, good. I've just been processing the last part. So that's basically it, Charles. I'm moving on now. Lyle Watson, that's an old video here. D Songwriter said, "If you enjoyed this video, I totally recommend the free audiobook attached by one of many unknown but highly entertained philosophers of our time who freely shares his knowledge in the belief that can only lead to greater things. Entire book on YouTube." Oh, right, what's this then? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at what this is.
Riddle of the Sages.
Oh, it's 7 hours long. Riddle of the Sages, the Book of Answers by Pina Defumer. Okay, well, this isn't spam because it's free, so fair enough, D Songwriters. Rocket launch cancellation live stream. Tadpole says, "In my humble opinion, it's increasingly looking like John Titor was right." Thoughts, Ben? Well, John Titor can't possibly be completely right because he said his predictions, John Titor's very own predictions, didn't come true. For example, civil war breaking out in 2004, the Olympics in Athens being cancelled, that didn't happen. Several other things he got wrong. But you see, time travel I don't believe is possible physically, literally. What you can do, you can have interdimensional travel, by moving from places that resemble the Earth to, if you move to a place that resembles a universe that resembles the Earth's own past very closely, then that essentially reproduces the experience of time travel, or the facsimile of time travel. It's possible that John Titor came from a universe where that actually did happen. You see, it's not the future he came from, it's another world. So I don't write John Titor off completely. I don't. But thanks for that, Tadpole. Right, Picnic at Hanging Rock Watch Party Introduction. Now we have Tina Silva. Hi, Tina, how you doing? Yes, an odd movie, Missing Time. Girls found half-dressed with shoes missing. Has all the elements of a quite different tale. And I say underneath, they try to keep conventional options open. A great film. I'll enjoy doing a review. Yeah, as it happens, Tina, the viewer is actually left in no doubt of having watched it in detail, that something supernatural really has taken place. I mean, it's like I said, it's like David Paulides in The Missing 411. This film was made long before Paulides started doing his research, though. But of course, the local people don't. The local people suspect Polish serial killers. They suspect human traffickers. They suspect that the girls just, lost their minds in the heat. They had heat stroke or something. There's all kinds of theories they come up with. But few people, apart from the Irish gardener, even he said, he after talking about Polish serial killers, he then says, but what about that strange light I saw above the pigsty, things like that. So it's an interesting film for that reason, I think, Tina. Picnic at Hanging Rock. Introduction. Jimmy Wormholes, that's a good name, says, great atmospheric film. Interesting spelling. This person is using strange spelling and irregular capitalization. Reminds me of the amazing Mr. Blunden. Remember vividly watching the film on telly upon hot summer's balmy evening in the Wormholt 1977. Alright, I've not seen that, the amazing Mr. Blunden. Not seen that, Jimmy, but I'll check it out if it's like Picnic at Hanging Rock. Rocket launch cancellation livestream, Caroline McGreal. NASA is full of BS and the Earth is flat. Alright, well, I agree. I agree with your first sentence, but not the second. Or the first part of your sentence, but not the second. Picnic at Hanging Rock, watch party introduction. David Splendid Isolation. Brilliant film choice, and these things really happen. Missing 411, etc. Never be the last in line. Yeah, that was on Bedtime Stories as well. The guy at the end of the rope, yeah. Yes, I mean, when I watched it, I immediately thought of The Missing 411. It's exactly like that. It really is a fictional. It's totally and utterly a fictional depiction of what we see in The Missing 411, made long before that actually started. We have Karen Sakakayan, who is a spammer. Let me just get rid of that. And we got someone else who's also a spammer. Let's get rid of that. Picnic at Hanging Rock, David Splendid Isolation. It also has Mrs. Mangle from Neighbours. It does, yes, Vivian Grey. She's actually a classic actress. She died a couple of years ago. Picnic again, Benji 84 says, good choice, Ben. I would also recommend The Last Wave by the same director. Deals with some similar themes and the ending's brilliant. Alright, well, Peter Weir, maybe we should do a season on Peter Weir films, because The Truman Show, of course, is how I first discovered him. Because The Truman Show is extraordinarily good. That's where Jim Carrey plays this guy called Truman, trapped in a reality TV show. He doesn't realise it. I mean, that's not a spoiler or a secret. I mean, the viewer is told that. The point of the film is not working out that Truman is in a reality TV show. The viewer knows he's in a reality TV show. And the point of the film is to watch how he works that out for himself and escapes. Rix Horden says, thanks, Ben. Picnic at Hanging Rock is on YouTube, so no problems if anyone wishes to watch it for free. It is indeed, Rick. I found it on YouTube. It's been there a few years. I think it's probably obviously the producers don't mind if it's going to be there that long, because we know how paranoid YouTube are about copyright. There's also the final scene where Mrs. Appleyard goes to the rock. Now that, as I said, I'm quite glad that was left out, as I say in my review, which is coming up. So you can watch it. You can watch it either with or without that scene. It's up to you. Introduction. Stephen Truthseeker says, yes, strange. I was only thinking of this film about a week or two ago. You've seen it as well, Stephen? Cool. It's based on a novel, but for me, it has a very real paranormal experiences. I actually believe this film has elements of a real story, but maybe has been covered up. I don't think a normal novelist could make up such a story unless they had a deep interest in the paranormal occult. The film implies some kind of portal that's opened. Yeah, it is. The thing is, Stephen, it is actually made up. It is actually fictional. There's no people. A lot of people did, as soon as they read this, they thought, because it read like a true story, they immediately went out and tried to find evidence of this happening. They went to the police records and newspaper reports from the area, and they found nothing. Now, it would be a bit difficult to cover that sort of cover-up. Really can't be done, not on that scale. But there's absolutely no doubt that it's so similar to many real events, as you see. If you've read The Missing 411, you'll know that. And Paulides does go into some very old cases. Bobby Bizup was long before this, 1958, long before this film was made. And it's quite likely that the person, what her name was, who wrote the book, I think she really did know about some real events like this. I think she really did, and what's more, she suspected exactly that, a portal opening. She suspected that it was some kind of supernatural occurrence that caused this, and she researched it. Yes, she researched some real events like that. She never admitted it, but she did. Rocket launch cancellation livestream. Steve mumbling, I must have missed the bit about the rocket launch cancellation. All I heard was the usual science fiction alien rubbish. Oh, well, Steve, why did you miss that? Did you miss about that? I do. Steve, it's in the title, mate, and I actually explain exactly what happened. It was, and of course, you heard what you believe is the usual science fiction alien rubbish as well, because that's what I always talk about. And I don't think it's science fiction rubbish. It is alien, but it's not rubbish, in my view. As you know. Picnic at Hanging Rock Watch Party Review. John Fused. First! Well done, John. I wanted to get this out before I went off to ASAP, and I did. Lemsip, same film. I saw the drama on TV a few years ago. It was very surreal. Right, I've not watched the series yet. There was a TV. I know there's a more recent adaptation which I've not yet watched. I saw some stills from it, and it looks quite similar. They've got the similar costumes. It's set in the same time period, so yeah. Okay, Lemsip on Picnic at Hanging Rock review. I'm against single-sex schools as well. My mother was after she attended a girls' day school in the state sector. That's why she insisted on me attending a mixed school. So when I passed my 11 plus exam, that narrowed down the choice of schools, as there was only one mixed grammar school. But then we moved to a county with comprehensive schools outside the city and selective schools inside the city. We moved to a local authority just outside the city where there were mixed comprehensive schools. They say girls do better in an all-girls school, but I don't think they learn how to mix with the opposite sex and have a romanticised view of boys. Yeah, and vice versa, Lemsip. Yeah, my mother thought girls in mixed schools were less likely to get pregnant in their teens than girls in girls' schools. I don't know if they have less contact with boys. That doesn't mean they're not going to have contact with boys. And with a lack of regular contact with boys, they may not quite understand how to deal with things like that. Even in the catchment area for the comprehensive school I was chosen, nor just by exam results, but the pregnancy rate of girls there. You could have a single-sex classes in a mixed school as a compromise. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know how much. I'm not sure how much research has been done on that, Lemsip. I think personally, single-sex education is bad, certainly at the secondary level, for the reasons I explained in the video. David says, David's Splendid Isolation. The opposite sex is a distraction in a pubescent educational environment. The difference is that public boarding school students don't get to go home at the end of the day and so are completely isolated from the opposite sex. So there's a difference in context. A pubescent educational environment can do without the distraction. The problem is that it is a distraction that's necessary to build an entire personality. It doesn't mean you can't learn. I mean, I went to a mixed comprehensive school from the whole middle and upper school. And there were plenty of girls there. Of course, I had the usual feelings about girls that teenage boys do, but it didn't distract me completely. But boys completely isolated. I mean, you know what goes on in these boys' boarding schools, don't you? Eton, Harrow, places like that. What do they do? The older boys, they turn. They use, because they have no contact with girls, they go a bit strange, don't they? And they start preying on the younger boys. Yeah. More spam on the Picnic at Hanging Rock review. Just get rid of that. Right. Picnic at Hanging Rock. Nothing as it seems. I cannot wait for your 1901 Australian novel. I'm writing my current series is set a few years after that, after the First World War. And nothing that seems now says, I can't wait. It's Scottish. I can't wait for your 1901 Australian novel. I'm not going to watch one of those. I don't write one of those, I think. Review again, David's Splendid Isolation. The claimed age of rock is invariably unquestioned, just automatically accepted. Well, geologists have ways of working it out, David. You see, like the lady, the Mrs. McCraw, the Mrs. Mangle, Vivian Gray's character. She seemed to know an awful lot about geology. Lemsip says in Picnic, I prefer the more modern version from 2018. Better casting. I like that the French teacher has got something going on with a French teacher who just owned a shop in the town. Right, that's a little subplot that wasn't in the original movie. I don't know if it's in the book. But the Miss Mademoiselle, what's her name? Le Poitier, who's really young. She's only a little bit older than the girls, I'd say. Okay, we've got a thread down on Picnic. 4 days ago, here we go. Hey Ben, I started watching this a while ago. This is Gary Robinson. Been meaning to finish it. Here's a woke film and TV update for you, mate. I'm not sure if you've heard, but multiple was alright. I see, okay. Disney, right, I think this is a repeat of the comment you made earlier. You add a little bit more here. But he talks about Kathleen Kennedy, the woke head of Lucasfilm, trying to remake the original 3 Star Wars movies. Yeah. Originally, she picked it as a cartoon series and went back in there guns blazing. Apparently, she told the Disney executives that her movie remakes will connect the woke Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series that she recently sabotaged. She plans on sidelining Luke and replacing him with Leia as the main character. This is why Luke was shunned in the Obi-Wan TV series and why Leia was made into one of the lead characters. Yeah, Gary, I would also add, in the sequel trilogy, what happens when Rey finds Luke? He's just standing there. He's living in a monk on this island on this watery planet, and he's just sitting there. She goes up to him, hands him his lifesaver, and he just goes like that. He's like some kind of miserable recluse. She's also planning on gender swapping Han Solo. So the bottom line is she wants her remakes to be part of a new woke Star Wars universe. Oh, dearie me. I'm hoping this won't happen, but as we know, Disney have not learned a lesson yet in regard to woke movies and TV show. Lightyear is close to losing $250 million already because parents were not prepared to let their kids watch it. Cheers. Good. I hope they hope they lose more. Of course, they haven't learned their lesson, have they? I think they're going to have to learn their lesson through bankruptcy if necessary. I swear, some people would prefer that to not being woke. Woke is like such a religion for some people. Look at the grooming gangs, for example. They were willing to do anything other than admit there was a racial element to this thing. I mean, how many millions of girls were abused? Gary Robinson then says after that, underneath, there's also been more news I see. There's more news regarding the Indiana Jones. A kid from Scotland, who I believe worked as a runner on the movie, has confirmed the rumours that the film doesn't have a real story as such. Goodness me. No, you mean it's got a crap plot? Oh, surprise me. Instead, it's a bunch of scenes for which they have filmed up to 5 different outcomes with varying degrees of wokeness. They'll choose the worst one, you bet. Apparently they're going to make the final edit as woke as they can, depending on what they can get away with. It's claimed that one of the outcomes for the ending of the movie is that old Indy meets young Indy through a time travel event. Both are killed, leaving Phoebe Waller-Bridge to take over. Yeah, history is then rewritten, meaning that Indy never went on his original 3 adventures. Instead, it was Phoebe Waller-Bridge all along. if they go with that story, there's going to be a pop culture outrage for sure. You can bet. I mean, in a sense, the female Indiana Jones has already been made in the form of the computer game Tomb Raider, and the film. There was a film as well. That's very like obviously Lara Croft, the main character in that franchise, is very like Indiana Jones in what she does. She's a sort of action-adventure archaeologist who, as you say, goes into these tombs and swings on ropes and things like that. So I watched the Tomb Raider movie, and it didn't bother me actually, because it wasn't Indiana Jones. It was different in many different ways. Why can't they just make up? If they want to make a movie franchise about going searching for lost treasure in underground ancient temples with pitfalls and other traps, and snakes crawling out the walls with a woman protagonist, they can do that. Don't have a problem with them doing that. Why don't they make up a new one? Gary Robinson says here again on Picnic, hey Ben, completely off topic, once again, yeah, but I'm listening to Paul Sinclair's interview with Philip Mantle, who mentions he has some new Roswell news in the form of an amateur VHS interview of a police officer who attended the scene with his partner by chance while driving to Roswell from Texas to pick up a guy they had been tracking, who had been forging checks. Apparently the guy was arrested in Roswell, so I had to go and pick him up on the way and heard a lot of commotion on the radio and decided to go to the scene. Cheers. Well, thanks, Gary. Now, I think I know who you're talking about. I know the policeman you're talking about. However, from what I heard, they didn't go to the scene. He was just driving, and he heard about it on the radio. He heard lots of commotion on the local police frequencies, and just thought, that's interesting, and just listened. Now this latest, apparently that actually says they went to the scene. Now, that makes it very, very different, doesn't it? It makes it a very different matter. Oh, Picnic, Lemsip. I saw Walkabout on TV. I got that mixed up with the Picnic at Hanging Rock. That surprised me, Lemsip, because they're both very different films indeed. Rocket launch cancellation live stream. Steve mumbling. The blueprints for the Saturn V rocket are stored on microfilm at Marshall Space Flight Center. And the Federal Archives in East Point, Georgia, also house 2,900 cubic feet of Saturn documents. So perhaps unsurprisingly, the NASA lost the Saturn V plans, we hear, from the moon landing deniers. It's just more conspiracy theory. Claptrap. Or maybe we can bring that up with Phil Coots, Could be, Steve. If that's the case, and Phil Coots have got it wrong. I mean, I'm not going to go back and read the article all again. But if that's the case, so be it. Lisa Cry Freedom has got a video here, the video link. Hi, Lisa. How you doing, Lisa? It's... Oh, it's a Picnic at Hanging Rock. Right, it's on BitChute. Thank you very much, Lisa. Yeah, thank you very much. Much appreciated, because that is actually... It's on YouTube as well. Luckily, it's on YouTube. BitChute, I've noticed, have been cracking down on the old copyright lately. They've been a bit more stringent. Hang on, I'll just open BitChute because I can do it down here. Google have allowed me to add a shortcut for BitChute, which is quite good. Picnic, John Nolan. Have a look at Edwin Saunders' Pixies videos, Ben. Oh, right. Edwin Saunders. Let's see if I can find it here. Edwin Saunders Pixies, okay. I'll just screen share. Right, there we go. Woodland for... Oh, what's this? Ads. Come on. This is a short ad, luckily. How long is this? Oh, it's just short ads. Good. 5 seconds each.
Not right up to the camp, but sort of that. I'm not finding this.
He looks like Santa Claus.
Normally, sun. I don't know. Oh,
he's some ancient monument there.
Come quickly. It is late in the day, and I don't know the way out.
Oh, poor old guys. Well, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer will get you out. We must get back for Christmas, remember. I'll have a look at those, John. He looks like quite a character there, like a guy with a beard, Cryonics livestream edited. Independent Rider says on here. I saw this is interesting. I signed up as a cryonicist. Cryonics Institute, $28,000. All right. I'm fully aware that cryonics is a delusional endeavour, as there's no evidence of anyone having been brought back from the dead. That's well, yeah. The idea is it's a future. It's something that will possibly in the future. Independent Rider, but the cryonics gamble is in some future bright spark discovering or inventing something that turns the delusion into a reality. Yeah, then it wouldn't be delusional by definition, then, would it, Independent Rider? I think it's worth the gamble, and even if the person who gets resurrected is not me, I'm still happy to have given another consciousness a chance at life, though not surrendering my brain to the grave. By the way, Cryonics Explained is not religious. He's a death anxiety riddled atheist cryonicist who's trying to trick theists into taking up cryonicists by very poorly connecting it to the Bible. Oh right, I did wonder about that guy, but I'm going to give you a love heart, Independent Rider, because I really appreciate someone who is actually a cryonicist finding my video and commenting on it. That's really, really good of you. I appreciate that enormously. So all right, so you've signed up for it. Well, you know, I've got a different view from you, but, you know, each their own. It's your money. Right, Alex Jones in court. Well, right, we have here. Oh, it's quite a long comment. It's probably going to be someone critical. Max Q. Oh, right, this is the guy who talks about rockets. He's quite a new commenter. The parents could sue you for saying it was a hoax. The Jones trial was a defamation case. Search Alex Jones defamation, and you are defaming the people involved by saying it never happened. Yeah. Well, the thing is, Max Q. You see, during the prosecution, though, a lot of the defendants brought up a lot of, or the plaintiffs rather, brought up a lot of information about how they had suffered as a result of Alex Jones's alleged defamation. So it wasn't just the fact that he defamed them, it was the fact that there was direct resultant harm from that defamation. But yeah, I mean, technically, if you say something about someone that's not true, then yes, and you actually give a defamation of law here. Okay, I don't have to read that out, but it's basically a correct defamation. So I mean, I actually defame a lot of people. I accuse various people who've been involved in the, for example. I say quite openly that Larry Silverstein has questions to answer regarding 9/11. I do suspect that he's telling the truth. And as for the SH situation, and I'm not saying SH when I say SH, it's not rather than saying the name of the school. It's not so that the parents can't sue me. It's not like a disclaimer so the parents can't say I'm talking about them. It's simply because YouTube's algorithms will get rid of the video. Will just yeet the video if I say the full name of the school. They will not say YouTube will not tolerate a single video upload that is not completely on message with the official story. I mean, if for example, these alleged parents decided to take out a lawsuit against me for what I've said about them, my defence would be very different from Alex's. My defence would be fair comment. Now, fair comment is a defence in a defamation case by which you say you're claiming I'm lying and I'm not lying. Basically, if you win a fair comment case, it's absolutely brilliant. You know. Max carries on. What do you mean appeal? Jones was found guilty in 2018. This trial was to determine how much he had to pay or not, if he's guilty or innocent. As the judge said to Jones, there's no guilty or innocent here. I know that, Max Q. The appeal would be against the sentence. In other words, the ruling of the court itself. Again, so the plaintiffs want they've already got like I think it's $4 million in damage in resultant damages, and they want more than that in punitive damages. Jones, as anyone, was only allowed to answer the questions the prosecution asked. No asides. It was up to the defence to ask him questions that gave him a chance to put his side of the story. This is the way it works for everyone. I know, but it was still quite. It was quite entertaining that he did what he did, and he did try to make an issue. He did try to make a deal out of it, which I wish he'd done that actually in the initial trial a couple of years ago. Max carries on. Jones obviously was not allowed to lie under oath, which he did. The fact Jones lied many times will probably end up with a perjury case. In fact, that's almost certain. This is why he was told not to say he's bankrupt or he complied with the discovery. As a couple of examples, those were lies. Well, as I said, he shouldn't have used. I would have. Why didn't he plead fair comment? You see, I mean, in his situation, I would have pleaded fair comment regarding the defamation, but I would have apologised to the alleged parents of the alleged children for breaching the data protection issue. That is, putting their business addresses and PO boxes up on, publicly on Infowars, which is what he did, which was stupid. Max says, you say his defence team screwed him. Think about that. These are a team of people who make huge sums of money defending people. Jones paid them a fortune. This was not a court-appointed team, as do all their clients. Do you really believe they would throw away their reputation and the prospect of earning more millions by publicly stitching up Alex Jones? That's laughable. No, it's not, if you consider that there's some kind of cabal running this in the same way they did the witchcraft trial of Helen Duncan. Are you familiar with that, Max? Are you familiar with Helen Duncan, who was a psychic medium in 1944, was jailed under the Witchcraft Act of 1735? And then when you look into the background of it, you realise that nearly all, well, not technically, not one of, not Loseby, not the main defence barrister for Helen, but nearly, it seems all the others were basically exchanging notes behind the scenes. Now, again, that's an attempt to pervert the course of justice, but because it's basically a government-sponsored conspiracy to put Helen in jail, they get away with it. As will, unfortunately, Jones's lawyers. This will be struck from their record. Okay, that's the end of another hour. Okay, right. I'll just one last bit here. Jones plans to use Ryan Knutson lawyers, the same ones you said stitched him up in future cases. Guess he's happy with them. Yeah, I don't quite get that. I would be furious if that was the case, because I don't think could something like that, could a professional attorney really do that? You're a barrister, you're educated, you're intelligent, and you send the prosecution all this evidence that again allows them to slap a perjury charge on him as well? Doesn't make sense at all. I don't understand that bit at all. Anyway, Max, I'll move on now. Thank you for the comment. Oh, I'd had it on display capture all the time, not to worry. Alright, we're back for hour number 3, and we're actually getting through YouTube now. Yes, it's not going to be as long as the last one, I thought. But anyway, I was on display capture. I know I've been on display capture now. I did that last time. I've got to remember always not to do that. Always put it back onto normal camera. But I don't know how long that's going to be. But it could be. It doesn't really matter. If it's nothing, then I'll go through it without necessarily putting on a still and saying sorry. This is audio only for this bit, because I did that last time because there were a few sensitive things on there. It's probably not going to be a problem this time. Anyway, let's continue. Now we have Max Q again. This is on rocket launch cancellation live stream. Oh, it's quite a long comment here. Now I know he likes the rocket stuff, so. Max Q said, no disrespect to Scott Manley, but I don't need him to tell me anything about the RS-25D engines. I think Max, you involved in the space program sometime, I gather. I think that's what you are. Now, I'm just checking it's not on display capture now. No, it's not. The RS-25Ds were used on the space shuttle, STS, and proved to be very reliable. Turns out it was a faulty sensor, and bleed on engine 3 went well. Right, this was 20 hours ago. There was a faulty bleed. Sensor and bleed on engine 3 went well. Turns out it was a faulty sensor and bleed on engine 3 went well. Had there been no more problems, and if launch control had known about it was a sensor, Artemis 1 could have launched. For the second attempt, launch control decided they would ignore the sensor rather than replacing it, which would require a rollback, and go on the data showing how much liquid hydrogen was flowing into and out of the engines. Scrub 2 was down to a tiny hydrogen leak. Oh, right, so now I know it didn't launch. Okay. NASA have a safety limit of 4%. Hydrogen is the smallest molecule in the universe, therefore very leaky. I know they had to have special cylinders at my hospital for it. They couldn't put them in normal, I think, steel cylinders, because it just leaked through the cracks. Because they inevitably got cracks and it would leak through. This is why SpaceX are using methane for its new Starship and Super Heavy booster Raptor 2 engines. It's a system that can launch 100 people and all the consumables that they need on the Moon and Mars. Fully reusable, of course. Artemis is $1 billion per launch. Starship's $1 million. Yeah, I mean, it's Starship have done a good thing, really, because a lot of once you can reuse rockets, it cuts down the price enormously. Someone has said, just imagine how expensive air travel would be if whenever you landed at an airport, they smashed the plane up and had to build a new one. It's like that. And here's a YouTube link. The first orbital flight expect first orbital flight in the next few weeks or months. All right. This is like Artemis 1. This is a link to lots of ads. Right. Okay. It's a long ad. Oh, there is a skip button. Good. This is SpaceX and NASA. Alright, anyway. SpaceX and NASA Lunar HLS powered unscrewed demo flight 1. Alright, this is a 10-minute video just showing a rocket launch. I'm not going to share that, Max, if you don't mind. NASA would not have chosen to reuse the RS-25D engines had their hands not been tied. Yes, the engines are super reliable. It's getting the fuel to the engines that's the problem. The shuttle, on average, scrubbed once every launch attempt. Right, yeah. I haven't had a chance to look at the latest launch attempt, Max. I was actually away in Bath, and then I went to Mablethorpe. I went to a conference, and I went and spoke at an event, and I did a lecture. The video, by the way, the video is up on Facebook if you want to see it. Although I think you'll probably find it a bit crazy because I think you're a skeptic. Some shuttle flights scrubbed as many as 5 times before finally lifting off. Part of Congress's conditions when approving Artemis was they used parts left over from or developed from the shuttle. As with the why don't they just rebuild the Saturn V argument, a completely new modern system would have been a better choice. Artemis has provided jobs for people right across America, and politicians want to keep those jobs for their voters. Yeah, the same way, but that's still essentially, when people throw empty dustbins on the ground, that provides jobs. It's the broken window fallacy. If people empty all their dustbins on the ground, it provides a lot of jobs for street cleaners. But you don't necessarily. It's not something. Essentially it's an artificial demand. So that in itself is not an argument against adapting the Saturn V, or simply modernising the Saturn V. But you might be right about the need for a new system. See, like I said, if you're right about the plans for Saturn V, then maybe that, rather than with Phil Coots, maybe that sort of makes his theory more likely than less. Max carries on. The SLS for the first launch will be a Block 1 version, the baby. Artemis 4 and the next 5 flights will use Block 1B, more powerful. Artemis 10 and all subsequent flights will use Block 2, powerful enough for the Mars missions. Alright, so that rocket could get to Mars. Well, the thing is, you'll need like an interplanetary vehicle for not like bloody Curiosity and Endeavour and the others. You're talking about a manned space mission. We'll carry on. A few people claim the Saturn V plans have been destroyed. This is untrue. The blueprint still exists as microfilm at the Marshall Space Flight Center. All right, as Steve Mumlings just said. I've had access to them many times. Right, I say you work within this field, don't you? Moreover, the Federal Archives in East Point, Georgia store... All right, you're repeating here what Steve Mumbling says. 2,900 cubic feet, which is a lot of paper, of Saturn documents and Rocketdyne has preserved its volumes of Saturn-related information as part of its knowledge retention program. Also, there are 3 full original Saturn V rockets intact and on display. Yes, at museum. I've never heard of Phil Coots, SP. It's a K, not a It's you spelt it C-O-U-T-S. It's actually K-O-U-T-S. But if he's saying the Saturn V plans are destroyed, he's wrong and should take a trip to Huntsville, Alabama, where he could see them himself and stop spreading disinformation. Well, I'll have to reread the article in Nexus, exactly where he got that information from. Get Max. Reply. All right. Now we've come on to the. I won't read these just yet because I refreshed the page. We've actually come on to Gary Robinson's a comment Gary Robinson posted during this recording. I'll come back to that later, Gary. I'm going to go to BitChute now. So let us go to BitChute. Now BitChute has notifications. Hooray! It has better ones than Odyssey now. So I'm going to go through these now and it means scrolling down an awful lot. But there you go. Right, nothing so far. Going back a little way. I don't know exactly the time of the BitChute comments. I'm not sure exactly how that works. I couldn't spot them very easily because it doesn't just say new video. It's actually there's this little capsule shaped notifications in red. It actually says it's bigger than the new video, so they're very easy to spot. So I can scroll quite quickly. I haven't really had no. Surely I've had some BitChute comments. I normally get at least like a dozen. I think I'll. Here we go. Right, this is Sweeps. Sweeps Fox! I think that might be on his video, actually. Let's have a look. Because you get notifications for comments on other people's. I commented on Sweeps videos as well. I mean, I might do this. Right, right. Oh, yeah, he emailed me about this, actually, yeah. But thanks, Sweeps. Cool. I won't put a reply because it's Sweeps video. Sweeps Fox. I sort of. All right, here we go. Right, okay. We have rocket launch. We have Wayland on rocket launch cancellation live stream. We got 2 comments from him or her. I think it's a him. Sounds like they've already made a news report for a major fire just in case they need one. I saw that, Wayland. What was that all about? Have you got a link to the act that's still there? And Wayland said at least the astronauts are still okay. Alright, it's an unmanned mission, Wayland, so there were no astronauts in this case. But do tell me, Wayland, is there some kind of, do you have a link to a news story that's released? Because I saw one and it was removed. NASA actually put up a video saying major fire at the launch site, and then it just vanishes. And I'm just wondering if there's any news stories about that out there that haven't been deleted. So let me know, please. Thank you for your comments. Let's go down a bit further. So maybe there's a quicker way of doing this. I don't know. Is there a quick way? I mean, the quicker way obviously is every time I get an email notification for a BitChute comment, I actually preserve it now in my notes, which would be maybe I think I have a lazy streak to myself, unfortunately. I can be lazy about some things, I must admit, and this is one of them. Okay. Oops. I suppose like oh, here we go. Claire Ray Randall interview. Oh, it's me. Okay. I think we're coming to the end now. Alright, new comment. What did I put on there then? Let's have a look. That's the end. Let's just see what my comment was on Claire Ray Randall interview. Oh, hang on. I've got some... What? I don't believe it. I've actually got some comment. A comment here didn't show up. Okay. Okay. John Doe. Oh, you know why it is? It's because if you click on the video, you lose the notifications. I get it now. You've got to be very careful there. I think I'll just preserve them. Stop being lazy and preserve the notifications. Anyway, John Doe says superb stuff. Thanks, John. This is John Doe at 70, so thanks. And we have Lawrence12345, who says, it's quite a long comment here. Ben, firstly, I've not read Claire Ray Randall's book, so apologies if the following phenomenon is covered in it. As far as I can tell, the author concentrates on the phenomenon of individuals that are obviously, as in evidently to the eye, not the gender they claim to be. Such individuals appear to be seeking total equality in the eyes of the law and beyond, as though they were the gender they claim to be. The famous access to toilets issue would be famous, if unpleasant, for example. Yeah, I mean, individuals like Claire, I mean, they make it very clear that what they seeking what they call stealth. In other words, they don't want to make a big song and dance about being trans, unlike most trans people, or a way trans people are encouraged to do today. So in other words, Claire's objective was to be as feminine as possible and just act like a woman, and essentially to become one. And she had surgery and things like that to change her body, and hormone treatment and things like that. Now, I don't have a problem with people like that. Claire, I didn't know Claire was trans when I met her. I mean, you can see she is very feminine. I can't think of her as anything other than female, as I say in the interview. So the problem is that the difference, and this is Claire's criticism of the modern trans movement, is it's been politicized so much that you get people who they say they want to be the other gender, and then they just keep saying it over and over again. And sometimes they don't even make much effort to act like the other gender. We mentioned Jessica Yaniv, for example, I sometimes think Jessica Yaniv is actually an anti-trans troll. Anyway, Lawrence carries on. However, I cannot help but feel that the mechanics of so-called gender identity are moot. I don't know what you mean exactly. Why, you ask? Well, the phenomenon of transgender individuals that are completely transformed extremely to the extent that they are indistinguishable to 99% of the population. Unlike Ray Randall, such individuals do not declare their true identity. I don't know if I understand you correctly, Lawrence. You're kind of saying what I did. Is that those who completely transform themselves simply they keep their heads down and just act like the gender they want to be, just be the gender they want to be. This is what's meant by stealth. Stealth has kind of been thrown out the window by the modern trans movement, from what I can see. They're very loud about being trans, and they shout and stamp their feet, and they want their balls waxed in women's salons, and then they get angry when then it doesn't happen. And people object, and they start kicking off. Anyway, Lawrence continues. According to researchers that follow the phenomenon, such individuals are rife in politics and entertainment in particular. The following channel covers this in more detail. Right, let's have a look. This is a BitChute channel called Apocalypse Watchman by Mr. Oh, right, I know this guy. Is this the same as Rocking Mr. E? Oh, right. This looks interesting. I'll give this person a sub. Rocking Mystery, the Welsh guy, he's very good. Alright, well, thanks for that, Lawrence, much appreciated. I'm now maybe I'll just go through my BitChute, my most recent BitChute videos. Just now we've done Claire. Now I've uploaded Relative Madness. This is an old video from long ago. I've got no comments on that. I'm just going to do this because just in case for some reason I lost some notifications. Cryonics livestream original. Okay, I didn't upload the edited version to Alt Tech. Nothing. No comments. Rocket launch cancellation live stream. Well, only the ones I've already had, of course. Picnic at Hanging Rock Watch Party introduction. This had 123 views. Oh, I do actually have a comment here, which somehow I didn't get a notification for. Aussiewood, Dingo Land. This is from Ronan the Tartarian. Oh, thank you, Ronan. And visible. This is Picnic at Hanging Rock Watch Party review. This is my most recent one. Let's have a look. That again had 88 views, which is pretty good. Oh, and I got Rose. Here we go. Ronan the Tartarian says here, a socially repressed time. All ages have their advantages and disadvantages. Yes. Oops. Yeah, okay. Yes, Ronan the Tartarian. My grandmother was born in 1911. And she grew up. Her childhood was during the First World War, and she said that despite the fact her lifestyle, by today's standards, would be called abject poverty, she reckoned people in those days were happier than they were now. Now I can't quote her on that. I mean, I can't go back in time and check for myself, but she said people were generally more content they had closer relationships with others. There wasn't this atomization you get in the modern world. And they didn't have TV or things like that. They didn't even have the cinema for the early part of their life. But they found entertainments in other things. They read books, they played sports and things like that. You know, and then they went out into the pub and things like that. Ronan Tartarian says the girls were very attractive. Definitely a simpler time. Well, I think they're a little bit young for you to talk about them that way. Well, actually, the actresses were not teenagers. They were they weren't under. They were sort of like a few years older than the girls they were playing. As with Jenny Agutter in Walkabout, which is why I don't feel exceptionally guilty watching it. I don't think you could actually have those scenes, the scenes in Walkabout, the nude scenes, with a girl who was underage. I think it would be disgusting and immoral, but it also be illegal. So thanks for those comments, Ronan the Tartarian. Of course, I mustn't forget. You guys need to remind me. Mark all as read, and delete all. There we go. Delete all. Right, that's BitChute done with. Now on to Odyssey. Actually, this is going to be a quite short video for a comment reply, I must say. I'm going to go through Odyssey. Now, as always with Odyssey, I've just checked my notifications. I only get them for 10 days on Odyssey, of course. However, you may be aware that I actually do make a note. I've made notes which I will go through in a minute. I've been scrolling through the notifications I have, and I can't see any comments for me. But I'm going to go through the latest videos I've made, and also through because every time I get a notification on YouTube, I do save it. So maybe I should do the same for BitChute. Like I said, not be lazy. So Claire A. Randall interview. We've got a comment here from Shelley of the Red. Hello, Shelley. Regular commenter. Oops. No, what's this? Oh, hang on. This is Claire. Yeah, I did use that music for Claire's thing, right. Shelley of the Red, who's a regular commenter on my channel. So hello, Shelley. I hope you're doing all right. Thanks for commenting again. Might as well be a trans zombie apocalypse in the US right now. And I put a text comment saying, "Same in the UK, Shelley. This video I did, and I say here is uncannily prophetic." And the video I link her to is my lecture at Truth Seekers Northeast on zombies, which I actually brought out at the start of the C pandemic. Okay, so thanks for that, Shelley. I've lost my channel. Hang on. No, I didn't. Hang on. No. Here we go. Right, relative madness. Yeah, this is on YouTube. I just realised I hadn't uploaded it to. Oh, I've got 7 comments. This video is not by me, actually. It's by someone else. It's by a film director called Vika Evdokimenko, a Russian film director who decided to do a little video about me and my family. Right, Opiatus says, "Never seen anyone load that much butter onto their bread. Truly shocking." And I put a text comment underneath saying, "This video was made 13 years ago. Since then I've switched to Olivio," which is true. I did put rather a lot of butter on my bread, but butter is actually not bad for you. And we have Trust in Nobody, another regular, along with Shelley of the Red, is probably the most dedicated commenter on my. Oh, I'm not spamming. Shut up. It says he quotes me here. "I don't like being normal. I'm glad," and says, "I'm glad I've never been known to come under that questionable description. I came across an old email from 11 years ago that said my continued brand of madness was something she found reassuring in a very unstable world. See, we all have our uses and purposes in life." Yes, and I say in reply, "TN, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Thanks for watching." Yes, I was like Zorba the Greek. A man needs a little madness, or else he dare not cut the rope and be free. And Daniel or Error at Daniel Error says, "Who wants to be normal? I had no idea you were also a film star, Ben. Best wishes to you and all your washing machines." Yeah, I am a film star because that technically won an award. It was broadcast at it was actually shown at the Edinburgh Film Festival and won an award. Yeah, what can I say? The camera loves me. Right, okay, Cryonics live stream original. As I said, I've not uploaded the edited version to Alt-Tech because the whole point of it was to have a YouTube version. I'm on preview, alright. Okay, just scroll down. I've got Trusted Nobody, who says here, I didn't notice this comment first. Howdy Ben, my experience of PC World proves your point. I too started using a local company who will build a PC to customer requirements. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. My current rig and the previous one came from these local, seemingly gifted technicians. I used PC World for the first and last time when I bought a PC running Vista, which is so full of bugs that neither the PC wankers nor a nearby small independent shop that sold mostly used computers could get the Vista machine to accept updates. I was told that the Vista was released too early and that companies who'd upgraded from XP had quickly junked their useless Vista machines. Having found a Vista to be a pile of shit, I thought Vindaloo would have been a better name. Something that make you keep running all the way to the bog. XP remains my favourite system, and going through Vindaloo, Win 7 and now Win 10, it feels like the law of diminishing returns. Certainly with Microsoft gaining more and more control over our fucking computers. A subject that maybe could do with a Ben Investigates video, yeah. Maybe you're right, Trusting Nobody. With the world the way it is now, I could have, and brackets, I could have typed the total misnomer society, but as we've witnessed societal breakdown thanks to the bastards and hate groups running this planet, the word society is now valueless, close brackets. I don't think I'd fancy being brought back to life in a world still run by humans. Oh, that's the Cryonics thing, yeah. Numerous sci-fi episodes come to mind, like Star Trek. Oh, this is the Cryonics one, sorry. Numerous sci-fi episodes come to mind, like Star Trek, OS, and TNG. Both discovered ships carrying people from the long-distance past and brought them back to life. And there was the Twilight Zone episode, where an astronaut, played by Robert Lansing, is frozen so that he won't be an old relic like me when he completes his mission to a far-off planet. Yeah, that's a common... Trusted Nobody, that's a common... plot device in science fiction, yeah. It's used in 2001: A Space Odyssey. You know, there's the frozen crew members in the little packages. It seems that in the world of sci-fi writers, cheating death and time is akin to finding the Holy Grail. The believers in life after death would doubtless say, "Hey, mate, why go to the expense of cryogenic refreezing when the trip of a lifetime awaits you already?" Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my point. That's my position, I think, Trusting Nobody, definitely, yeah. I'm sorry if that's some aggravation from that computer. I am, you know, but I'm personally quite happy with the incarnation I've had in this world, and continue to have. It's not past tense yet. And I will continue to live it to the extent that I can. Spend it in devotion, as Akbar the Great said. So I think that's a great comment. Thank you very much. We move on to rocket cancellation launch. We've got quite a few here. I'm getting more popular on. I think I'm getting more popular on your Odyssey. Denial of Error says expensive firework failed to reach the sea. Have you been to the National Space Centre, Ben? Curious on your thoughts. Cheers. Right, I haven't actually. Denial of Error. I would like to go. Yeah, but it's twice now they've not launched it. I mean, maybe as Max Q said, you know, sometimes it can take 5 times to get it right. And we say at Bud. Still waiting for a real pic of the Earth from space, 53 years and counting. I just asked SpaceX, but not very helpful. Right, did you tell him you're a flat earther? I mean, I'm not spamming, bugger off. Did you tell him you were a flat earther? The thing about it is, like, there was the one picture, wasn't there? There's just one picture that shows the whole Earth. And some people say that's fake. I think it was taken by Apollo 8. Why are there not more? It's a good point. But thanks for the comment. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a flat earther, but yeah, you think there would be more photos, wouldn't you? Yeah. Now we have Just Trusting Nobody again with another long comment who says, howdy Ben, rather like Richard D. Hall and Andrew Johnson. I believe that, rather like them, okay, I believe that the oversized firework malarkey that the barely out of the pimples NASA mission controllers love to woo-oo about, that's a good way of putting it, oversized firework malarkey, is an excitable Homer Simpson fashion. Nothing more than smoke and mirrors, pure fluff for the mainstream media. An attempt is being made to hide the fact that the US government, and no doubt others among their acolyte nations like the UK to be sure, have access to technology way in advance of chemically powered rockets. Meanwhile, greedily attracting millions in taxpayers' dollars every year. There really doesn't seem to be much of a return from the money on NASA. I'm pretty sure that even I could get a radio-controlled battery-powered buggy to a deserted area of Greenland, Iceland, Sweden, Norway, Northwest Passages, pocket a large bung in a brown envelope and still do it for less dough than NASA demanded. Yeah. You have been watching Rich Planet very carefully. Trust nobody, sorry. As for private enterprise and their rocketry, I believe that anyone rolling in enough dough decided to seriously fund a truly exciting project like sending man to the moon, the US government would step in as soon as the mission started to look like a reality. Well, they have done, haven't they? They've actually put out a diktat saying that no one can go within 200 miles of the various supposed lunar landing sites from Apollo. You've just immediately made the point I've just made it, yeah. Rather than you're about to say what I've just said, sorry. Rather than mere fodder for the gutter press, the US government apparently made their Apollo landing sites off limits to any rover landings, as they were protecting the last breeding areas of the great cloth-eared elk, as if they were protecting the great cloth-eared elk. What have they got to hide? Secret bases on the moon, or a total lack of evidence that man ever landed? Both. There's total lack of evidence in terms of Apollo, but people have been at the moon and there are secret bases there, yeah. Besides, I can't help but feel that any, quote, heroic privateer, unquote, who pushes the notion that space belongs to everyone, and yes, someday we're going to go to the moon, and it's going to happen soon, are merely in cahoots with the bastards running the world. So that if you don't believe NASA, you'll believe Mr. Very Rich Privateer, instead making everyone ignore the elephant hitting the room. Rockets? We don't need no stinking rockets. Long comment. Thanks for reading. Oh, you're welcome. It's absolutely true, and do watch Rich Planet for more details on the secret space program and the secrets being kept in space, and indeed Andrew Johnson's website, checktheevidence.com. This is going to get more and more difficult because there are people now pushing for outer space treaties resembling the Antarctic Treaty, in which no nation will be allowed to own territory in space. Things like that. There's going to be it'll become a kind of commons. So there's going to be some kind of tragedy of the commons here, I'm sure. And that's going to make it a bit tricky for the claims of various nations. It's not just US. I mean, Russia have their secrets too. And NASA are already trying to get in there, and the US government is saying, no one's allowed to go near the Apollo landing sites. You can't even hover over them, because the rocket exhaust might pollute them in some way. But thanks, that's a good comment, trust in nobody. Picnic at Hanging Rock Watch Party introduction. No comments. Picnic at Hanging Rock Watch Party review. No comments. Right, we're going to go to Rumble now. I must say, I might be branching out soon into other areas, like in terms of videos. Like Getter now have a video service which I might use. So this video, I'll have to go through the comments there as well. Okay, guys. So, what we got here? All right, it's going to be a bit tricky because, yeah, this is going to be a bit tricky. I'm going to have to use. The reason is I've been uploading old videos to Rumble, so I'm going to have to go to the actual Rumble. I'm going to have to use the notices on HPANWO TV. It's a good job I have those, actually. Okay, so Claire Ray Randall. No comments. Cryonics live stream. No comments. Rocket launch cancellation live stream. Oh, we have here Darshan Ashoka said UK Royal UFO murders covert Stasi genocide part 2. What's this? Okay. Now there's some links here. Rumble, you looks. Oh, come on! For God's sake, it's not spam. I've posted that one before. Okay, so I'll add another dot. I'm going to say, do I have to add a dot every time? Okay. There's okay. There's a cut and paste thing here. I'll look at it later, Darshan or Shocker. Please help me and the disclosure effort by watching, researching and sharing these video montages everywhere on the internet. The fascist transnational cabal are sabotaging me from sharing this kind of vital information on the internet. I'm guessing you've been banned from YouTube, Darshan, with their myriad of dirty tricks like shadow banning, cyber computer hacking, views and subscriber count suppression, and attempted murders, etc. Oh dear, that's the last bit sounds very... Yeah, well, be careful, Darshan. You know, it's funny, you know, the views counts. I've noticed... I think my view counts, I should question them. They're probably higher than they are. I've seen them, like, freeze for a while, and they've even dropped. I suspect my view counts have been messed with. Judging by the number of comments I get, as opposed to my viewership, I think I'm actually probably getting more views. Now there's some links here. Veterans Today, that's quite good actually. Veterans Today, Getter, The Intercept, and another Veterans Today thing. Right? Okay, I'll check that out later. Darshan, thank you very much. Okay, so I'll keep that open actually, so I can do that. Okay, Picnic at Hanging Rock introduction. No comments. And finally, Picnic at Hanging Rock review. No comments. Okay, so we're nearly done now. I'm just going to go back to YouTube and then actually reply to the comments that were left there while I've been recording this. And we've already got one from Gary Robinson. Hey Ben, so last weekend Mrs. Robinson attended a shamanic mushroom ceremony here in north of Mexico, and she said it was quite an experience. For the most part, it took her back to her childhood, and in one part of the experience she was walking around her grandmother's house as it was back in the early 80s. She also said she was able to pick up our house as if she was a giant and applied what she described as spiritual cleaning out old stagnant energies. Strangely enough, she told me that while doing this she could see me sitting at my workstation, stroke studio, working on music. She was also able to see my eldest son, who was in the room with the light on, which is quite unlike him, as he usually sits in the dark on his computer. She confirmed this happened around 8 PM, at which time, I'm about to ask this question, I was indeed working on some music, which is something I would normally do on a Saturday at that time. After chatting with my eldest son, he also mentioned that he had the lights on for a while around that time. I'm giving you love art. Very interesting. Cheers. That's excellent, Gary. That's an amazing report, because obviously she appears to have had some kind of astral travelling experience. Now, like as Robert Monroe did in his books, you know, there's several ways you could deal with these astral travelling experiments. You can just take them as read, and Susan Blackmore took hers and didn't really question it very much. But Robert Monroe actually went looking for evidence by putting in exactly to see if what he saw during his astral travelling could be verified by real-world reports. I mean, he even identified, you know, random numbers in a locked box. Now, what you've done is very interesting. That the astral travelling your wife was up to seems to correspond with things happening in reality, which she wouldn't have otherwise known about. So thank you very much. Excellent work. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick refresh and look for the sort of the page notifications to see if anyone's added anything more. All right. Let's just see if this... I've just converted the second part 2. This is the third part, of course. Let's just... I have to convert it to a smaller file, because otherwise it's just too... This is my webcam, guys. It's... Yeah, good. I seem to be going through a run of technical problems, I've noticed. Like, I just hope they come to an end soon. As I say that, this page is bloody hourglassing. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll shut Windows Media Player. That will help. Sorry, Windows Movie Maker. That will help enormously. Right, it does. You're right. Here we go. Alright, so we had Gary's. There's Gary's comment there. So we'll go now. We've got a couple from Max. Okay, Max Q says here. Read more. Okay. This is 27 minutes ago. A friend of mine brought one of the satellites on eBay. Well, how much did it cost? And mounted it. It came ready mounted on a stand and sits proudly at the bottom of the double stairway in the entrance to his home. Grand pianos are normally situated in similar settings, but everyone agreed it makes an interesting talking point. It certainly does, Gary, yeah. Was it expensive? I mean, did he get it on a hire purchase, or what did he do? And here we have Max Q again, here on replying to me on rocket launch cancellation live stream. As a quick update, a NASA ombudsman has revealed for the first 4 Artemis missions will cost $4.5 billion each, nowhere close to the still ridiculously expensive $1 billion figure that was being tossed around. Yeah, $4.5 billion. I mean, that's pretty low compared to things they spent, for example, on bloody bank bailouts and the war on terror. So this is putting it to much better use, I would say. Alright then, so I'm just going to do one more refresh to see if there's any new comments, and then if not, we'll call it a day for this particular period of this reply to comments period. Okay guys, so thank you all for your comments, they're all great. Well, some of them were foolish, but even those were kind of amusing. When I reply to these kinds of comments, I'm not really addressing the person I'm commenting. I'm addressing you. I'm addressing you, the viewer. I'm hoping to educate you by dealing with what I think are the falsehoods in somebody's comments. So I'm really addressing the people watching. So thank you all for every single comment, even the rude ones. Some of them are quite amusing. There will be another video coming soon. It's already almost up and ready to go. I'll probably upload it tomorrow or Friday. It is my reportage on the ASAP Seriously Strange Conference, and it was not easy editing, I'll tell you. I am getting a camcorder. I'm getting a good old-fashioned camcorder. I'm not going to use my phone. I'll go through the saga later, but anyway, it was quite a difficult editing task. But honestly, guys, you guys are all great. Everyone who watches, and especially the people who comment. I mean, literally, by definition, if it wasn't for your comments, this video would not happen. So thank you for all of them, and I will. There's more coming very, very soon from HPANWO TV. Thank you all of you for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.